What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, guys. Your boy Ryan LFC back again, guys. Another top shelf video for you guys today. I want you guys to go and check out Cards Blog. Use the coupon code Ryan LFC to get 10% off your order. Everything will be down in the description. It's a perfect FIFA card for your loved one or for yourself. You can get your own picture on it. You can rate your own self. You can get a club logo, and also you can get your country logo on it. It's a perfect gift card for someone who loves football or your girlfriend or your boyfriend. Enjoy the video.
Welcome back, guys. Good evening, good afternoon. Big up to every single people across the world. I just want to tell you guys, thank you very much for your support. I really appreciate it. But before we get into the interview, I want you guys to smash the like button. Please leave your thought down in the comment section. We have a special guest. Someone has done great for Jamaican football. And from you guys see the title, from you guys see the thumbnail, it's Coach Carl Brown, a legend. Someone has done great thing for Ryan LFC right through the years at Boys Town Football Club. The first someone to give me my business, have it up to high school, from primary school, come right up. First young man walk up to Coach Carl Brown and said, Coach, I want a business. And him say, a serious young man? No other young man in Chenchton ever walk up to Coach Brown and ask him for a business. And him say, what kind of business you want? And I said, I want to sell banana chips, chocolate, cigarette, Mataran, Craveny. And he called the water boy at the time and said, Frank, you know that Brown man want to have a business and I want you to go downtown and check out all the stuff he need and tell me the price Monday morning. And trust me, by Monday evening, I have the business as a young man. So I want to big up Coach Carbon to come and share his story with us. So Reggae Boyz fans, I want you guys to be nice to the legend. Someone has done great for Jamaican football. I want to welcome Coach Carbon. Good evening, good afternoon, Coach. Welcome.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Ryan. I'm just proud to be here with you, doing this interview with you. You know, a lot of people have asked, and I tell you, I'm just making every effort today. I drop a few things just to do this one with you. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I know you're a busy man, so I really take your hard time to come and sit us and talk to us about football. So I just want to tell you, thank you very much, man. And thank you very much for everything he has done for me, my father, my mom, right through the years at Boys Town, especially so much young youth look up to Coach Carl Brown in the community of Rima. So I just want to tell you, thank you very much before we start the interview.
You're that special dad. You know, a man who really loved Boys Town and anything for his kids. You know, he has contributed in his own way to the club. You know, without any hesitation. Just ask him and he'll do. You know, and therefore that makes it a lot easier to help you, Ryan.
Thank you, Coach. My first question to you, Coach. Tell us a little bit your early life growing up in Jamaica.
Ouch. That's a far way back, Ryan. I actually was born on Slipe Road, 5 Slipe Road, just opposite Malcolm's Hardware. At about age 5, my mom moved to Trenchtown, and we lived there. I spent 34 years in Trenchtown. My family consisted of my mom, my sister, who is my twin. I'm one of 2, and my brother Les. Dad wasn't around at the time. Later came into my life, and that's a story that I love to tell because it meant so much to me when we got together, you know. But Trenchtown became home for a long time. And then Boys Town became a part of that home. You know, that was the playground for us. It's either in the street or at Boys Town. And my brother, who was so much more established than me, and when we talk about talent, I really don't usually put myself in that bracket of being a talented player. My brother was talented. He was just unbelievable. You know, and we grew up together. He I believe he probably allowed me an easy passport into Boys Town because of what he was doing. But I had to fight my way through. I had to prove at the end of the day that I was worth being a part of it also. You know, not just relying on less reputation to get me through. I worked hard for that. I wasn't talented, but I worked pretty hard. Trenchtown was home. I grew up at 5 4th Street. And it's a place that I'm not afraid to tell people that I'm from, you know, because Ryan, so many people have the concept that only bad things are at Trenchtown, bad things, bad people at Trenchtown. I believe I can sit here today with you and call several names that have contributed to our country, you know, both in the field of sports, entertainment, and politics. And therefore I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to tell people where I am from. And it helped me. It helped me along the way because there were some things that I started to do from very, very early and recognize that the reputation of the place that I lived, that I had to be different. And it helped me along. You know, I was just talking to one of my former players who is in England, Leon Osborne, Diddy. And he just reminded me, he said, Coach, you know, one of the things that we learned from you was to tuck our shirt inside our pants as a youngster because you never wear your shirt outside. And this came about because I was from Trenchtown, Ryan, you know, and I knew then the police at the time that they judge everybody from Trenchtown the same, you know, and therefore before I left my house, my shirt would be tucked in properly, my hair would be combed because I believe appearance was one of the things that could get me through. And I, you know, I'm so glad sometime when the people who I spend time with, the young people who recognize that, you know, and it might seem like nothing, but it's a big thing that people recognize that I kept myself neat. I put myself together before I go on the road. And just because of the fact that I grew up was in Trenchtown. You know, but so Trenchtown was really for me a home, a place that means so much to me. And today, and Boys became that big part of that home, you know, and today I tell people my obligation of helping Boys Town and Trenchtown is not a choice I have. It's an obligation that I have because that place has done so much for me, Ryan, and it had afforded me the opportunity to expand, you know, and I grabbed it. I just didn't. It wasn't by chance. It wasn't any luck that sit down and wait for it. I had to work hard for it, but Boys Town gave me the opportunity to get involved, and I'm always willing. I'm be always willing to help that institution.
Most definitely, coach. So you grew up in Trenchtown. For all those who don't know Trenchtown, it's called Rima. And also, which school you attend to from a tender age coming up though?
I attended a school in Crossroads, St. Francis. I attended that school because I was living, as I said, I lived at Slipe Road for a while, you know, and my mother worked close by St. Francis Primary School, and therefore I attended that school. And when we moved to Trenchtown, we used to walk in the morning. I had to leave very early because she go to work very early. So we'd be up, my sister, my brother, and myself, we'd be up and we accompany her to work. And we spent some time over her workplace, which was next door to the school, until school started to open up and we'd go across. You know, so it's a long walk every morning. All four of us would walk through. No bus. No bus. We walk. We walk. I tell you, Brian, the bus fare was tough to find for 3 people plus herself. You know, so we walk with our mom to school, and it was no big thing. We'd walk every day. At about 10 or 11, we moved to Trenchtown, and I started attended Trenchtown Primary School. Got a half scholarship to go to Calabar, and in 1966, I went to Calabar, spent 2 there. Again, finance forced me to change school again, and by this Trenchtown Comprehensive High School was now open. and my mother got me into Trenchtown Comprehensive High School, and I spent 4 years there, and that's where I finished school, you know, and went into the working world after that.
Okay, so you play Manning Cup for Trenchtown. At what age you start to get in football though, coach? Because many people know you as a coach, but playing football, they don't know you play centre back. Want to speak a little bit more about your time playing and then you come up as a coach. So it's a story, you know. We don't want to miss out anything, you know.
Ryan, that's sneaky time because it's so far and so much to talk about that, you know, we might miss some things, but I'll try and fill you in. For a long while, I didn't participate in. I used to just play on the street more than anything else because I had a big brother who was very protective of me, and Boys Town was rough to play, you know. And when I ventured on to Boys Town, even if he was at Boys Town before me, as I reached him, he would tell me, "Mama want you." And I would just head up back, you know, because I respected him so much. And therefore, I just go back home. And most of the time, when I play that Boys Town is when Les is not around. Because as he come, he doesn't want me to play. The Boys Town in those days, Ryan, if you just came and saw a game, a practice game going outside with everybody from the same club, you'd believe that a team was visiting us. That's how tough it was. They gave no quarters, nobody. It was rough, it was tough. And for a long while, he tried to protect me from that. In 1960, 67, Les got a contract to go overseas to play in the US. And that gave me a little more freedom to get involved in football down at Boys Town. I say, Ryan, I don't put myself in the talented bunch because I grew up with a real bunch of talented players, you know. When you talk about talent, you talk about Diego Gordon, the Lash Shaw, the Dennis Sastry. Dennis
Sastry, that's the Indian who play goalkeeper, right?
Yes, we used to call him Coolie Pele.
Coolie Pele.
Yeah, Sastry, these were talented people. But so I had to work hard. I had to work hard to be a part of that bunch. Played minor league for Boys Town, and at that time I started playing. I played more football at Trenchtown more than at Boys Town. And I send you a young picture of that I'm in the striped shirt there. That's one of my days at Trenchtown. You talk about being a defender. I actually started at centre forward, playing football as a centre forward. You know, and I scored a lot of goals. I would get into places that people avoid. And I played that there for a while and probably changed just by chance. We had house football at the time, and there was no right back in my house to play. So I moved and went to play at right back. You know, I developed the right back, and then in 1968 we entered the Manning Cup, and I started playing at right back for Trenchtown School. Played that position for a little while, probably a year or two, and then moved to we won the Walker Cup in 1969. Had a really outstanding team and should have won the Manning Cup. You know, it's just our learning curve. Things happen that today you just knew that if we had done different things, we could have been double champion at the time. Excelsior won the Manning Cup that year. We beat Excelsior in the finals of the year. I know you're laughing. I know it's the old school. we also beat you in the finals of the Walker Cup in 1969.
Yeah.
My upward trend though started when I was invited to be part of the Jamaica National Youth Under-19 team. And that exposed me a lot to not just proper coaching, and organized coaching, but also players. You know, you got closer to some of the better players across the island, and the exposure was just great. I remember one player in particular, a guy by the name of Calvin Stewart. We used to call him Weber. Played for Cavaliers and KC. I remember watching him play at KC, and when he played for KC, he used to play with a white kerchief in his shorts waist, you know, and Ryan, strangely enough, that you didn't like this guy because them times a kerchief indicated a bad boy, you know, bossy and everything, and you did a dislike for him because of that. But when we joined at the national, when I met him at the national team, it was just unbelievable to see the human being he was. You know, we became very, very close friend, and some really amazing story that I could share with you, and that me and Weber had. But that Weber was just a really unbelievable person. Supported me a lot, kept me. He was in the national team before me, so actually went and joined him there, and he helped me along the way to settle in. My real schooling though was the fact that I played for Boys Town, and I had not just Les, but a defender by the name of Johnny Cole Dawkins. Johnny Cole for me was way ahead of his time in terms of his whole outlook on the game and the things that he would do. Kept himself in immaculate condition. A no-nonsense defender. And it was just great to be part of himself, Les, myself, and Lashaw as the back four in the Boys Town defense when we won Division 1 in 1971. You know, so Trenchtown Manning Cup, really Trenchtown School gave me the opportunity to start my football career, and it blossomed into at Boys Town. You know, I keep talking about the playing for Boys Town and the times I played for Boys. 1971 we won the Division 1 title. By 1972 I was coach of the Boys Town team. A young player, still playing and still coaching the team. And I tell you something, because of my exposure now to the national training and Manning Cup and schoolboy football, I got a better idea of what we need to do at Boys Town. Because in the earlier days at Boys Town, no coaching existed. The training would be just everybody comes, run some lap, pick up two team and we play. That's what our training used to be like. There were no organized getting out there, doing work, doing technical work. No, there was one ball. So there was no chance of spending time doing technical. You learn that while playing. And today I still, you know, it's one of the things that I hear people say a lot about. The game is the best way to learn it. And that's what happened to us as Boys Town. That we just went, run some laps. So we are all very physically we're tough. You know, they're not going to beat us late if they don't beat us early. And I remember when Slabo, you know Slabo.
Yes, I know.
Slabo always remind me. He said, Coach, I remember the first time you came down here and blow your whistle and say farm 2 line. Probably the first time we went into organized training at Boys Town. You know, so from very early, I started as coach and player of the senior team. You know, a lot of people ask the question, with so many senior players around, why you? You know, what kind of respect you got from those senior players? It was so easy. It was unbelievable. You know, I believe I brought leadership from very, very early into that position. And the respect was shown. We had some outstanding players. In 1973, for instance, when Division 1 changed to Major League in 1973, we had an amazing group of players. You know, we were playing a 4-4-2 formation at the time, a 4-2-4 formation. And as a young coach, I had people like Romito Hill, Desmond Lewis, Devon Lewis, Desmond Smith, Devon Lewis, Diego Gordon, Archie Reed, and Theophilus Branch to pick 4 players from. And it only made easy by the city and the gentlemen. Only 4 can start. You know, and listen to me. I don't want anybody feel that because I left 2 out, the 2 that I left out didn't do good the game before. It's just who we play and the time. We're going to rotate the 6 of you and ensure that everybody gets as much playing time as possible. And therefore, you know, everybody, it was so good. I mean, humanly that you could see it. Whenever 2 players, 2 of the 4 was left out, there was reaction on the face. If nobody said anything, you could see it on the disappointment. People wanted to play. And I remember in 1974, I had a German coach. I touched a little on the national team. Yeah, just to introduce. We got a coach from Germany by the name of Atmar Calder. And I remember talking to him one day and said, Coach, I have a little problem. He said, what is it? I said, well, I have these 6 players, but every time I name 4, the other 2 are you know, seem offended and is vexed. And he said to me, just do all your team talking before. The last thing you do is name the final 11, wheel out and say, let's go. Don't look back. And that helped a lot. That helped a lot. I didn't see the faces anymore. You know, but the senior players were very, very supportive. People like Les and Johnny Cool were always in the corner, always there, and never ever for one in any form indicated that they were senior to me, and therefore, you know, they were in charge. They were always supportive and helped me along the way.
So, Coach, your brother, big brother, Les, were protecting you, and
Yes.
you becomes him coach.
Yes, yeah.
Wow. Wow. At what age you start to coach a Boys Town team, though?
About 19, you know.
19.
Yeah. About 19, I started coaching. We won the minor league. Myself and Lashaw was in charge of the minor league team that year too when I started, and we won the minor league. You know, so it was a real good transition. I tell you, what was difficult about it, Ryan, was to find material in Jamaica at the time to increase my knowledge of the game. And therefore, fortunately for me, about in 1970, I started touring I became part of the Jamaica national team. And therefore, when we go on tour, one of the things that I'll find when I go is a bookstore. You know, when most people are looking for a store that sells sneakers, I'd be hunting around a bookstore to find material. And therefore, I'd buy material. And not just soccer material, but any coaching material that I see, I would buy. And interestingly, one of the best coaching book that I've read was written by a guy who coached the Australian women's hockey team in the 1960 Olympics. It was amazing. It was amazing just to read that book, Ryan. And this was not about soccer, but it's a way to go about getting players organized and to get the best out of them. And that book was probably one of the best coaching material that I bought during those period. You know, so I made every effort to start understand why. Why do we kick the ball this way? Why do we run this way? Why do we stop? Why we do go right? Why do we go left? I got information. There was also one very, very big plus for me that I grew up in an era that people love the game so much that they shared information. And I grew up with 4 coaches that I'll always remember. Leighton Duncan, coach of the Cavaliers team. Winston Chongfa from Santos, Jackie Bell from Santos, and George Thompson, KC and the national program. I tell you, Ryan, Leighton Duncan loved this game so much that he'd give information, any information. And even if I had a game against Cavaliers, Boys Town had a game against Cavaliers this evening, I could call Leighton Duncan in the morning and ask him about a problem that I have, and he would give me a solution. Even if it means that the solution helped to beat Cavalier, he was so willing to do it. So these coaches helped me along. They shared everything. They shared everything to me. I tell you, the psychology of this game is so big, it's just unbelievable. And sometimes people believe that the only solutions are found in books. For me, it was found in just talking to these people. I tell you something, in 1984, the first time we won Premier League, in 1984, our first 11 games in that season, we drew 9 of those games. We lost 1-0 to Seba, and we won 1-0. So of 11 games, we drew 9, 1-1, and lost 1. And I remember after that game we lost to Seba, I came back home the Sunday night. On Monday, I was at work, and I took up the phone, and I called Coach Duncan. I said, Coach, I don't know what's happening. The team is playing well, but we're just not getting any goal. And he said something to me that just turned the entire season around. He said, Carl, 20 years ago, I asked George Penna. George Penna was a Brazilian coach we had in Jamaica in 1964. And he told me 20 years ago, he asked George Penna the very same question. And George Penna said to him, Leighton, maybe you're overcoaching them, boy. Now give them a break. And he told me that he just picked up 2 teams every evening and let them play. And he sat and watched them. Ryan and I went to Boys Town that evening for training, and Sammy D and Yu was the captain and vice captain at the time. And I remember I just said to both players, pick 2 teams and give me a game, because I was still playing, And that's how training went for the entire week. We just played. We just picked up, went running, did some physical, and then just pick up. I didn't stop the training any at all to correct anybody, to correct anything. We just played till it got dark, and we just go do some running. Because we usually do a lot of running after training in the dark, because then we didn't have any light at Boys Town. So we usually use the daylight, which lasts from about 5:30 till about 6 o'clock. 6:15, it's going to get dark. And we run in the dark. We do a lot of running in the dark. When most people is packing up and going over the dark. If you come, you'll see us in the dark. We just pop about the dark in the evening.
Why it's so important, Coach? Because I remember when I was playing for Boys Town, I was a part of the under-21 team, and every single time you come in from Florida, you come to Boys Town, you come early before anybody. And while we are training on the pitch, while we think everything is over, it getting dark, always. Gentlemen, we're going around the field. Why it's so important for running? We didn't like that.
I can tell you something, Ryan. I grew up on here. One of the phrase was 90% perspiration and 10% inspiration. And I don't believe that has changed. In spite that we might get the perspiration in different ways now, but it still matters to me. For me, I still believe that is the part. I've seen players with talent without good condition, and they just last for a while. So I still believe that is it. In those days too, Ryan, when you look around, that you had one ball, there wasn't a whole lot you could do. But you could go running, and everybody could participate in that. So we grew up on that. We grew up, Boys Town pride themselves on always being physically fit. And I just tap back a little on Les. Les, as I tell you, was an outstanding player. Amazingly outstanding player. And when we grew up in a room that had 2 beds, a big bed and a small bed that me and Les used to sleep on, and my sister and my mother would be on the other bed. So the bed was so small, you couldn't help touching each other. But every morning at 5:30 when I turned, Les would be gone. And at 7 o'clock, he's back at the house, dripping wet, like somebody had poured a bucket of water on him. He'd go training. You know, and I'd always wonder as a youngster, why Les train so hard and he has to play? Because he's good, you know, not Pia, he was good player. Good player, must play. And I always wonder. But when I got into it, I started to realize that this is something that is going to be needed. You know, as I said, I got myself in that kind of shape that physical condition became the hallmark of my development. And I survived because I was much physically stronger, could last much longer than most of the players that I played with. And therefore I got all the dirty work as a defender when I played there. You know, I tell you about the German coach. I remember in 1974 when he came, I'd be one of the man marking because we played a 5-3-2 formation with one sweep and 2 stop. I was one of those man marking central defender, and as tough as they come, you know. So that is something, Ryan, that even today that I believe is a big part of the game. If we get ourselves in good physical condition, the technical part of it will just rise and just pops out.
Most definitely, coach, because we didn't like it as a player. You make us play football and we enjoyed and stuff, shooting for the whole day. Michael Campbell, Jad Vernal, and at the time, coach, it's so funny that the first time I bring the Jamaica national team to Boys Town, and one morning, and I didn't went to school, and he said, "Look, man, come stand up in the goal for me," and
Yes.
player them was just kicking shots all day. But one of the part where the player them don't like, when it's time to go home, the place getting dark, coach said, "Run." Run. Where you going? All of a sudden, every man legs are hurt. No, come run around the pitch, and not half of the pitch, the whole entire pitch. Anybody want the live right now? Boys Town Field is one of the biggest out there. 2 field, I have to run it till Coach Brown say it's time to go home. No matter how dark it getting and the mosquito biting you, you have to make sure that in condition and discipline too, coach, and discipline. And that's one of the things that I learned from everybody at Boys Town. You have to be disciplined for Coach Price and Coach Brown and all of them stuff there. So yeah, you start to coach at the age of 19, and look at you right now, coach. You know, he has done so much in your career for the Jamaica national team, and so Boys Town win the Premier League. So at the time, coach, you were a player coach, right? And so before, when you didn't have a coach,
we had coaches, you know. Boys Town is part of the YMC, as you know, and most time that coaches from outside would pop in for a short period with us, and we sometimes get coaches from even overseas, but it always with the short stint. George Thompson, as I told you about, a KC old boy, actually came to Boys Town and coached Boys Town team at one time too. You know, but we never ever had a resident coach, someone who you know, like myself and Andrew Price now can talk about being coach of the Boys Town team. It was just the old boys who conducted things. You know, there was, I tell you something to Ryan. We would sometimes be training on a Tuesday evening and just get a report that we have a match on the Wednesday. Because nobody even go to meetings at Casafa or anything with us. You know, there was nothing organized there. So therefore, when I started, I took up all that role. I would finish training in the evening and head off to a meeting at Casafa to get information. You know, and we'd have information now readily. The whole subject of registration and everything was done. And it's out of that, my involvement, that we start to get ourselves organized. I started looking around for supporters who are at match every day, and I would get some of them to do different things. I brought in people to help look about the refreshment, because that was a no-no for us at Boys Town at one time. You know, but I brought in people to listen. This is your role. This is what you're going to do for me. I don't care where you get the money. Thief it, borrow it, beg it, do something. But when I come in the evening, there must be a igloo out here with some juice mix. And that person became responsible. And therefore, after training, we had refreshment after training. Buster Branch, Buster, you are going to be the masseur. Buster is a man who was involved in doing massage. He'd probably go to the race course and massage jockeys at the time. You know, he had a little idea of it. And I actually took Buster up to Huey for a 1 week. I was working at Shipping Association at the time, and Buster was a port worker. So I was able to get Buster early work because they had 3 shifts. I usually get work for him that he goes to work at 7 o'clock in the morning and come off at 2. And he'll take the bus and go up to Huey, a nurse up there by Nurse Brown. And she would teach him basic thing, how to wrap and how to properly massage the thing. After a week when Buster came back, Buster was a doctor, you know. You couldn't tell Buster anything about how to massage or how to wrap everything. If you try anything, Buster just said, Nurse Brown say. Nobody. There was nothing in the medical field when it come to that. But he served us well. You know, he became that. He would be in the changing room daytime. And I remember Joe Down, I will tell you that one of the things you remember the most that I said to Buster, shine him up. Because them time that the massage was a big thing. When you leave out of the changing room, shine. It people know it drive fear into teams that we play. You know, so we started to look around, and then we find people who we appoint as manager of the team. There was a dreadlocks by the name of Raymond Forrest. Ray had just come to club and joined the club and wanted to be a part of us. And I eventually asked Ray to be the manager of the team. And he took over everything. You know, so now we have somebody who would go to meeting for us and would give us information. And Ray was so dedicated. In spite of how late the meeting finished, Ray is going to give me information. He's going to come off the bus, walk down to my house, and give me the information before he goes home. You know? So we started to get ourselves organized little by little, where we now have coach and managers and masseur at Boyz Town.
That's true. I remember every single evening before we chain, Frank look up getting the water organized, whether it's you coaching or enterprise coaching. We always have water boy who make sure that the water prepare, the ice prepare, everything prepare. And also he have puppy we're playing and he wear the massage and all of them stuff then. You know? But why is when team come to Boyz Town, they have a never die attitude, especially when I listen to Coach Lenny over the years. When I was ball boy, he were coaching Arnett Gardner, him coaching Tivoli Gardner, and him come. And he said, they are leading 1-0. And in the second half, him said, listen, the Red Brigade is coming. One Love cannot beat them. They're coming out. What you guys tell the player at halftime, most of the time they come out that hot.
It's not just halftime, you know, Ryan. It's how we prepare ourselves. You know, Ryan, you talk about running around the track, but we have teams that after training on a Thursday evening in particular, we'll run from Boyz Town over to Port Henderson and back, you know. We'll just knock up together, turn down Cali Smith Drive, on Spanish Town Road, down Greenwich Farm, across Marcus Garvey Drive, hit the causeway, all the way to Port Henderson. That's how we used to train. It wasn't by chance. Ryan, we were well prepared. We had a few drivers at the club, you know, and we had some spectators who love Boyz Town, and they'll do anything. On a Thursday evening, sometime we'd pack up in police car. We had a player by the name of Police. He drove a van, and Mr. Tory had a big van that we'd load up in, and we go to the foot of Jack's Hill. And we'd run up the hill to where we could see overlooking Kingston. And if going up was tough, it was coming down because the hill was very steep. But our players would do that. You know, our player would go there. So we were physically in great shape. And as I tell Ryan, if they don't beat us early, they're not going to beat us late. You know, and if we probably just roll back to probably the most memorable game played at the National Stadium, it was 1981-82 season where we beat Harborview after they led us 2-0, 7 minutes into the game, 7 minutes left of the game. We eventually got 2 goals and beat them on penalty kick. There's so much story to be told about that game. But Lenny is a part of it. You know, Lenny know exactly what we do. And I remember Lenworth had joined Boystown after his venture at Tivoli. I'd put on some weight at the time. And we'd go to Little Cooper to train. You know, we go everywhere, Ryan. Little Cooper was a sandbed where we could go run for miles. And we had a place we call the Wall of Death that players had to run to touch that and get back. And I remember in the early days that a lot of people don't know that about Lenworth Hyde, how tough he is and determined he is as a player. But we would go run at Little Cooper. And when everybody was there, Lenny would not stop. He'd be way behind the field, but he'd still continue. And we'd stand there and clap him in when he gets seen. So he knows. If you hear him say that, he knows. He has been a part of that sort of preparation, that when we get ourselves prepared, if you don't beat us early, you're not going to beat us late. We lose very, very little games at the back end of games.
Most definitely, coach. I remember the last time, I think back in 2013, 2014, when they bring over the airport, we go run the Suns. Oh my God. That means it's a long time, coach. You bring in the Boston team to run the Suns. A long time.
Man. It has always been a part of it, Brian. It's been a part of me. You know, if you talk to my former national players, they'll tell you how hard to work. But you know what? As I said, I played that time too, Ryan. So it's not about sending some players to run. I had to go run too. You know, and one past national player said to me, say, Coach, you know why we had to be up front? Why we had to keep running? Because you were at the front of the line. You know, so Ryan, for me, it's the 90% perspiration and 10% inspiration still stand. You know, I believe it's a very, very important part of preparation. And whatever you do, where you do it now, whatever you use ball to do that get into that kind of physical shape, because we can do that. You know, now the game, teams now have 20 and 30 balls to work with. Players can get a ball to work all by himself. You know, so you can individually do things to get players in physical condition while they are doing technical work. Technical work and physical work, can be tied up.
So, coach, you went to Bolton. I read something over the internet. You went to Bolton a couple years ago. At the time, Baby Gardner were at Bolton. I think Big Sam was the manager. Very good manager. Respectful manager in England. You went there for 1 year. How that improve your coaching education?
I tell you how it came about, Ryan. I have done several coaching course, Ryan, both at home and abroad. You know, I have done several, and I reached the point where I actually told, I started to tell people I don't want to go on any more coaching course, because Ryan, I still believe one coaching course you do all. Coaching course is like ABC. Once you learn your ABC, you're on your way. It's just a matter of manipulating the letters, to form different words. And that's for me what's coaching. And I remember telling Captain, I'd like to go spend some time in one of those professional clubs. And Ryan, fortunately for us, as you said, we had Bibi Gardner there at the time and Jermaine Johnson. We had two players there at the time. Jermaine Johnson was there also. So, it was great. So I got to Bolton, and it opened a lot of things for me, my eyes to a lot of things. One of the things that we grew up believing, that the professionals just live in one big hotel and a bus would go for them in the morning, go take them to training and then take them back home. That was a concept that I had growing up, When I went to Bolton, you realize, players live all over the place. You had players who live 2.5 hours away from the training ground, but they are at training every morning, early.
You say a while ago, coach, because I think like Liverpool team now, I think they just live in a one big hotel, prepare and go to training. So when you go to Bolton, it's totally different, the opposite way.
Ryan, you are not unique in that assumption. A lot of people, I myself was part of that. That I thought that's how the pro live. That they live in one hotel and a bus will just go for them, carry them to training, pick them up, carry them. People live, every player live differently. Every player lives somewhere else. Every player, and in these days, some players live with their family too. It's not just that everybody does get a contract and leave wife and kids home. Everybody is now walking around their entire family. So they live different places. And as I said, you have players who live up to 2.5 hours away from the training ground. But the training starts at 10:30 every morning, Ryan, and I drive early. The players had to be at the ground by 10 o'clock. And I would drive early and sit there and just relax in my car and just watch it. And you bet, Ryan, at 9:45, the first car is coming through the gate. And everybody comes in after that. And the pros behave just like us, Ryan. We get into the training room and they tease. Somebody is on today. It could be Ryan today, it could be Carl tomorrow. But they're going to start teasing. So they get in, they go to the equipment room for their gears, and then they come back to the training room. And they muster just like how we muster. They are human beings. They muster. And some people get it more than others. It was a great group of guys. And you mentioned about Sam Allardyce. The gaffer for me, one of the things that I'm really sorry never did happen, that he didn't get a long opportunity to spend with the England national team. Because the gaffer is one of the best manager that I have ever met. Ryan, Bolton had players from 19 different countries at the time, but you'd never know. You'd never know. The gaffer was just so accommodating. And I remember my very first meeting with the staff, because the staff meet every Monday morning before the week training starts, And I remember sitting in the meeting, just listening, observing. You're a new person there. You just want to do a lot of that more than, getting into any gibbering. And I remember him just stopping the meeting and he just said, "Coach, if you're sitting inside here, you got to be a part of the meeting and I want to hear from you." I mean, he just made me at home. That just break the ice, And the good thing about it is that if you offer suggestion and it makes sense, he's not afraid to implement it. I remember at the time that the Bolton team was struggling at the bottom of the league. We were fighting to stay in the league. And I remember one Monday morning, we had a staff meeting. I said, "Gaffer, if we get a few more people around the training ground on the tree, it might give the players a little more energy." And he said, "Coach, I never think of that. As of tomorrow, it's going to happen." And we had the entire staff there. That included the chef and the doctors, the medical staff, and everybody. And he just said to everybody then, "Listen, as soon as you finish preparing the kitchen staff, preparing the food, I want to see everybody around the field. The medical staff, when you finish with the players, everybody should get out there." The next morning, we probably had about 25 players, about 25 persons around the field. Where in the past, it would be the gaffer, Phil Brown, who was the first team coach, McDonald, who was the reserve coach, myself, who was guest coach with Bolton there, and probably one other person. About 5 staff members were there at training. This morning in particular, we had about 20 people around the field. And it was unbelievable to see the players. And I remember of next game after that, we went to Charlton to play and we beat them 2-1. and it was just unbelievable, the spirit of the team. So he was that type of person. He was just unbelievable. He was very accommodating, and protected me, because, you know, being in a foreign country and can be sometimes be a lot of pressure. But he allowed me to settle in very, very quickly, allow me to become a part of the coaching staff, and anything, any suggestion you had, that he was willing to listen.
Wow.
You know, I tell you, Ryan, that my first week, we had a game in that Charlton game I tell you about, that we had a away game. We were playing it away, and I remember just before we were going down the Friday before the game, and just before we reached the training ground, because we're going to train the Friday evening before the game on Saturday. And he just looked across to me and he said, "Coach, you're going to warm up the team when we get there."
That's what where Bolton were playing at that time, in the championship, or
in the Premier League, man. They were in the Premier League.
Wow.
They were in the Premier League. I mean, Ryan, that for me was an opportunity to be a part of the team, you know. And I remember I once I asked a young coach, we're in our coaching or boss going to train, and I said to him, "So I ask you to take training today, can you manage?" He said, "No, coach, I'm not ready." When the gaffer told me that, it was just up my street. I am ready to grab it. Fortunately for me, there was Bibi and Ricardo. So when I started, I put both of them in front of the line, you know, and they became my demonstrator. Anything I wanted the team to do, I'd ask either one of them to do it, and we followed. We really had a great session the evening, you know. So he for me, is one of the best man managers that I've come across, and just really regret that you know, things popped up that he didn't get the opportunity to spend a long time with the England national team.
Yeah, when you look at Big Sam team, especially when they call him in to save the team from not get relegated,
yes.
You can see that he's a very good man management, because you have to. He's a coach like this, Brown, where you want a particular type of player to play in his system, and whenever him get them, him always done well.
Yes,
he always done well. He's a very good man management. Club don't like to play against Big Sam.
No, they don't. You mentioned about him finding players to fit in his system. He had a great scout by the name of Jack, you know, and Jack would go find players for him. Bolton was one of the club that started the whole loan thing very, very early, before a lot of clubs. Bolton would get players on loan, and one of the things that he recognized, particularly when World Cup is coming up, that you have players from national teams who weren't getting first team games at their club, and they wanted to play, to give themselves an opportunity to go to the World Cup. And Jack would go find them. And that's why people like JJ Okacha came to Bolton. He was at Umberg at the time, not getting a whole lot of playing time. And Jack found him and brought him in. And an outstanding individual, an amazing player.
Coach, you're so amazing, man. I was listening to our interview with CM Big Sam the other day. I think 2 weeks ago, when Newcastle were looking for a new manager, they get the new ownership, and they were talking to Big Sam and Sky Sport, I think on Talk Sports, and they were saying to him, what would you do different with this Newcastle team to get them out of this situation? And him said the first thing, he has to bring in his own backroom staff.
Oh, yeah.
Second thing, he want to make sure that him and him scouts sit down and look for player who on loan were in Spain. And you can see that he have an identity what he want. Every single team him get, especially if him get them in Christmas, by January, him getting loan player. I'm looking for player. And the player don't have to be big name player. They must be big in sizes, because he's a coach that depends on set play. He believe in set play and stuff. So when I hear talking about Big Sam, someone who around Bolton at the time and learned so much from Big Sam, So you went to Bolton, that has done great for your career. That take your coaching experience to a next level. Because sometimes as a coach, you need that exposure, right,
Of
coach?
course, of course, of course. It's very important to gain knowledge. You know, if you are involved in it, go search for the knowledge. And sometimes, you know, the knowledge is just a phone call away, you know.
Yeah.
And I find coaches sometimes are just reluctant to call other coaches to solve problems for them. You know, nobody want to know. Oh, you know, Coach Brown called to ask him. Maybe the man that was big coach. No, some of the answers are not written in any book. It's in our head. It's in our head. And sometimes there's a phone call to a coach to just say, hey, I have this problem, you know, and you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised, like Leighton Duncan said to me 20 years ago. He asked George Penner that. No, as I tell you, Leighton Duncan is one of the brightest football minds that I've had the opportunity to talk to. But he wasn't afraid to ask somebody to solve a problem that he has. You know, but we are afraid to do that. You know, coaches are afraid to do that. A lot of solutions are in the head of coaches, the heads of coaches. You know, you have coaches who have been there. Because the truth is, Ryan, any football problem that you encounter, somebody have solved it before. Anyone.
Well said, coach. But people, we're on the live and we have almost 150 of you guys. I'm really disappointed in you guys. We only have 60 likes. People, let's get the video to 100 likes. I told you this all the time. When I'm doing an interview, it don't make no sense for me to just stop to tell you guys, hit the like button. That's the best way you can support the channel. I really appreciate every single one of you guys doing in the comment section. Share your thought, whatever you want to say. But that's all I'm asking for. Smash the like button. It's very important. I can't believe when I watch you guys them in England, they were talking for the whole day. 10,000 likes. And when we have our stream, people just come in the conversation and not even say good afternoon. Hit the like button. That's the best way you can support the channel, people. So big up to every single one of you guys in the chat. So coach, thank you very much, as I say, to come and share your story. But let's talk about the national team. Because I was talking to my coach, Coach Aliman, a couple weeks ago, and I said to him, I'm having Coach Brown on the channel and I'm coming to share his story. And the first thing he said, Coach Aliman, he said, I must give you a message. He said, thank you very much for all the hard work he has done for the coaching in Jamaica. You improve him a lot. You get a lot of idea. So Coach Aliman said, I must big you up and tell him, say, yo, for tell you, thank you very much. So I have to get that in one first. So any message you have to say to Coach Aliman? Because I know him.
You know, Ryan, there are people in Jamaica who have served this country, you know, that country so much, you know, and sometimes even us we are guilty ourselves of just saying it because we are afraid to commend each other, you know, and Liebert has been there. Liebert has, I remember him as a young coach. You know, he has gone through some of the tough times that I've experienced too. People like himself and the Jackie Walters, the Bradley Stewarts. These people have made contribution, and sometimes even us, you know, even us our own self are just afraid to say it. We, you know, why? I'm not even certain, Ryan. I'm not even certain, but it is, you know, Liebert, just like you say, you are part of it too. You know, you have touched the lives and made so much contribution to this game. You know, the Jackie Walters. You know, I just recently just see some of the past players, mainly from Clarendon, is talking about what Jackie has done, and we have not even honored him. As a country, we have not even honored him, and sometimes it hurts, you know. But I grew up with a coach by the name of George Thompson, you know, and this man just wanted to contribute. He just wanted to play the role that he can play. Anybody outside of him, what didn't really matter to him. Didn't really matter to him, you know. And it's the same thing with me, Ryan. That, you know, it's the youngsters. Well, I shouldn't say youngsters. They're big men now. It's the big men now who had an opportunity when they were young to say something or do something that have influenced their life positively. That means so much to me.
Yes, coach. Coach, I want to ask you, the first time you get involved with the senior men's national team, I want to ask you a few things about the 98 World Cup and a few other stints as the head coach. But why, whenever you manage the national team, why you bring them to Boys Town to change?
You know, Ryan, it's that period that we had done some work on our field.
Pretty.
Yes, and we had a good surface, I would say, at the time, and we didn't have a whole lot of surface across Jamaica that we could use, you know, and therefore Boys Town was open to me, it was available to me, and it was one of the reasons why I took them there. Secondly, it also helped me to open the eyes of some of the youngsters around. You know, as you said, I remember the day when I asked you to go in the goal for us to do some shooting practice, and I hope that had meant something to Ryan along the way. You know, so
first coach, he's the first person put me in the goalkeeping.
Yes, yeah, you know. So Ryan, it was twofold. It was the fact that Boys Town had a good surface at the time. You know, we had really done a lot of work on the field. Or Omar Davis, the MP at the time at had really contributed greatly. Our old boy, Mr. Junior Lincoln, was a big part in us having a good playing serve, a good feel right across. You know, sometimes it's just unbelievable to believe that we have gone back to where we were before.
Yeah.
Because the length and breadth, we had two good fields that were fully grassed and really beautiful. So it was for me an opportunity to just use it for the national program as part of our contribution to the national team, you know. But as I said, it also to expose the players on the national team to our youngsters down at Boys Town.
Yeah, most definitely. We get into the Cayman because Cayman, you bring Cayman. Cayman could have used a different pitch in Jamaica, but they choose to come to Boys Town. But I will get to that Cayman stuff. But I want you to talk to me about the first time the head coach of the senior men's national team. Which year you come the first time a part of the senior men's national team? For
1983. 1983. By then we had really conquered it, you know, the entire. We were from 1973 to 1983. We had literally won everything. We hadn't won the Premier League, but we had literally won everything. And we had a game against Cuba, Olympic qualifying game against Cuba at the time, and Neville Glanville, who was president, who was the technical chairman for the Jamaica team at the time, for the Jamaica Football Federation at the time, invited me to take charge of that game. And as usual, when we have local coaches, very little support. And it was tough. I tell you, at one point, Ryan, we were on the verge of cancelling the game because of lack of support from private sector and government. Until Mr. Chang from Western Sports stepped in, and God bless his soul, a man from down Montego Bay named that was in charge of the Wadada team at the time. This man loved game, loved football. Him love football. Him do business. If you beat up Wadada, him will do everything for you. You know, I tell you how this man say. We went to Montego Bay once to play Wadada. And as a club, we didn't have any money. We couldn't find money to overnight in hotel before game. And we drove down in the back of Mr. Tory truck. That's how we reached Montego Bay. And we stopped at the boxing gym that was on the beach in Montego Bay, the Dragon Gym, boxing gym. And somebody went and told the manager of the Wadada team that Boystown was there, and he drove down there. He drove to the field and he said, "Coach, what is?" I'm explaining to him, and I said, "Boy, we really don't have no money for put in." You know, he went and rented 2 rooms for us at upper deck. We're playing what other the Sunday, you know. He rented 2 rooms for us and put up the Boystown team that night. Gene Gray, unbelievable human being. Love the game so much that him never even have much sense. Him love the game too much. Him do anything at all for the game. And he eventually put up the national team. So we shift the game to Montego Bay. So the game was played at Montego Bay at the time. I don't know if you can beat this. That's my scrapbook, 1983.
Wow.
That's my first national game in charge.
Yeah, he said, coach.
Yes.
Bring it over a little bit more. In the wow.
See the date? February 17, 1983.
Wow.
That's you, that's Thomas. That T-Got.
T-Got Davis.
Yes.
The striker.
Yes. That's Dunkley, Devon Dunkley, goalkeeper, and Noel Bram King. Some members of the team.
Wow.
You know, so they really, between himself and Mr. Chang from Western Sports, Mr. Chang provided the gears for us.
Always supporting. Mr. Chang always supporting football team. Always.
Yes. You know, we lost that game 1-0, but you know, it was the start of my career as a national coach.
Yeah. So who give you the opportunity? Is the federation or?
Yeah, the Jamaica Football Federation. As I said, Neville Glandy, who was part of CASAFA also, was technical chairman of the Jamaica team at the time, Jamaica Federation at the time. And he brought me in.
So the team that qualified for the 98th World Cup, I was talking to Coach Allman, and he said, before we get to 98, 2 years ago, before 98, you won the Shell Cup with Jamaica, and you were preparing most of the team. And he said to me, Ryan, believe you me, Coach Brown prepared that team. The year that Jamaica has been dominating, Coach Brown at the time, and then Rennie Simons come. What go right for Jamaica at that time, 90? What are some of the
I just
great...
give you a little background of where it started. In 1990, I was reappointed because after 1983, 1986, I resigned as national coach in 1986.
Why you resign,
because
Coach?
Why
you resign?
1986.
Yeah.
So I spent 3 years as the national coach without any pay. I didn't get any pay from the Jamaica Football Federation at the time. In 1986, the then president came from a meeting and he told me that one member of the private sector people that he was meeting with wanted to know how can the national coach come from Boystown. And I told him, I said, Mr. President, I'm going to resign tomorrow and just let you know. They just find excuse. They'll find all kind of excuse not to support us. Because, Ryan, the truth is that people don't support football in Jamaica because poor people play it, you know. And I say that without any apology to anybody, you know. When George Penner came here in 1964, he went down to Railway to find some of the better players, you know, to represent Jamaica. Since then, all private sector support for football went. George Thompson went through tough times. We had to keep dance up student union just to get little refreshment. No local coach used to get support for it because poor people were now playing the game. In 1989, the first year of the Caribbean Championship, we did awful. You know, we did awful. We didn't win or pick up a point in the preliminary round and got knocked out. we actually end up being 26 of 29 team in the Caribbean. That's how bad we were. That's how bad we were, Ryan. In 1990, we had a new JFF president, Mr. Tony James. Tony James from down in Mandeville. God bless him. Blessed man. Love football. Tony James approached me to be the national coach. Wanted to reappoint me. And I tell you, Ryan, I remember by then Winston Chongfa was now technical director of football too. He was appointed technical director of the Jamaica of football in Jamaica. So I had a meeting with both himself and the president Tony James up at the arena. The JFF office was at the arena at the time. And you know, we had a talk. I tell him, gentlemen, I'll accept it, but I want $6,000 each month. Jamaican dollar, not US dollar. 6,000 Jamaican dollar. Yeah, for each month, plus $1,500, plus $3,000 for my assistant. My assistant at the time I wanted to get was Bob Campbell. So the president tell me they don't have any money. No, the president didn't tell me. Chongfa tell me that the JFF don't have any money. So I said, gentlemen, I understand. I know the JFF don't have no money. But make I tell you something. I coached a national team for 3 years before without anything. I'm not going to do it again. So I just wish you well. I hope you find somebody who will do it. So Chongfa said to me, Coach, just wait outside a minute, you know. Let me and the president talk. So he called me back about 15 minutes, called me back inside. And he said that they'll find the $6,000. $6,000, Ryan, Jamaican dollar. A little more than that. It value a little more than that it value now. But it was 6,000 Jamaican dollar and not US dollar. Yeah. So they eventually tell me that they'll find the $6,000, but they can only give the assistant $1,500. So I tell them, I said, Chongfa said he had a good relationship with the assistant coach and he'll talk to him. So I said, okay, if the assistant coach agree with what you want, then I don't have no problem. But I tell you one thing, if the assistant coach agreed to the $1,500 and I hear him complain one time, I'm going to dismiss him. So just make him know that's straight up. And I actually told the coach that himself the following day when I met with him. So in 1990, we were back and we started training. We put a squad of players together. And now our goal was to qualify for the Caribbean Championship, which was being held in Trinidad at the time. You know, a great bunch of guys. We worked hard. We started from day one.
Tell me some of the name who were on that team, coach.
Ouch.
Some of the young people them who there on it. Most of the people who support me is young people, so we're here to learn from the best, you know. So can you tell us some of the people who were on that team? People, big up on yourself, enough respect. Taylor, big up yourself, man. Yes, Coach Brown is the first person put me into the goal. And coach, when the Jamaica national team come to Boys Town, and coach said, all I want you to do, if the ball come in hard, duck. Coach said, if the ball come in hard at you, with a duck. And believe you me, guys, everything I put up my hand and block it. I don't know how to keep as a local man. And I just start to dive and start to push. And Coach Brown give me, tell me, say, yo, listen, you must be a goalkeeper. And Coach Tiger was playing center back, and Coach Tiger said, no. Coach Brown said, you must play goalkeeper. And from that, my goalkeeper career start. Yeah.
Yeah, we had some more. There was a man named Agla from down Westmoreland, played for Reno. Was part of that squad. Linval Pala Wilson from Reno too. Anthony Corbett was our captain. Montague Long, Winston Anglin, Hector Wright.
Hector Wright.
Yes, Hector Wright. Hector Wright, at one stage was vintage, was just vintage. Every time he touched turned to goal. You know, left-footed, very left-footed, but probably scored one of his best goals with his right foot. Our own Ninja Smith was the goalkeeper.
Ninja Clive. Yes.
Ninja Clive Smith. Donovan
They're only
us too. You know, there's a little short man by name Palmer. Fast, Wayne Palmer. We qualified for the you know, I tell you, Ryan, we started to play some games. That team went for 23 games unbeaten in the office. They couldn't manage us. And our first game was against St. Kitts. Our first qualifying game was against St. Kitts at the National Stadium. We won that game 3-0. We beat Martinique 1-0. And then we went off to Guadeloupe. To play our final game against Guadeloupe. All we needed was a draw there. We drew that game and we qualified for the finals in Trinidad. There's a little man named Roderick Reed and one named Adonis Maxwell. Two small players, but they were my two strikers. Very tricky, unbelievable, tricky, both of them, but very, very small. We went to Trinidad and the tournament itself was abandoned because of a coup they had in Trinidad at the time. So we played our final game against Trinidad. And the night of the Trinidad game is when the coup took place. You know, and I remember we were warming up in the room, getting ready, when the president walked in to tell me that they wanted to have a meeting with me. And therefore we went to the referee's room. And that's when we saw some officials from the Trinidad FA who told us what was happening outside. And they asked us to play the game because they didn't want the crowd to go on the street. And I mean, the stadium was full to the brim. In those days, cell phone wasn't around, you know, because if we had cell phone at this time, then everybody would be out of the stadium. I'm certain of that. And we played the game. It drew 0-0. We actually spent 2 weeks in Trinidad before we got a chance to get a flight. Air Jamaica sent a plane for us. 2 weeks later, you know, we spent time together, but it built great camaraderie amongst the group. And therefore, we came back home, and then 1991, we hosted the tournament. And it was unbelievable. I tell you, most of the players I called were back there, was back in the squad. And the addition of a little maestro at the time, Walter Boyd, was in. We brought Walter Boyd, still going to Excelsior. We brought him in at the time, 1991. Teagat Davis had returned home from Israel. He was in Israel playing for a while, returned home to join us too, you know, and was sharp, still getting goals for us. But there was one player that a little story about him to this day, and not certain what really went down. But Devon Jarrett, he's Devon Ricketts now, but he was Devon Jarrett at the time, was our striker. He's from Montego Bay, plays for Wadada. Devon was getting all the goal for us. He was fast, he was powerful. And on the eve of our first game against Guyana, the eve of our first game, we had finished training. We back at the hotel, had the team talk, settled the team, and left for home. And my manager called me to tell me that Devon said that he wants to go home. This was just unbelievable. I'd lived at Spanish Town at the time. The team was staying at the Oceana Hotel downtown. I remember I just hit Central Village when I got that call, you know, and I said, Mr. Ryan, put Devon under the car, go drive him out little. Him say, coach, I offer everything to Devon. Him say, I have to go home. And Devon left us. You know, a big blow for us on the eve of it because he was our best striker at the time. T.Got Davis got 6 goals in the tournament and won the golden boots. But I tell you, Devon would probably have got 16. He probably would have gotten 16. You know, to this day, I don't know why, you know, he gave up an opportunity. Got him back in the squad in 1993. But we went on to win the Caribbean Championship that year. First time Jamaica is winning any major tournament. Sure. We started out at 26 in 1990. By 1991, we were #1 in the Caribbean. 1992, we lost the finals to Trinidad in Trinidad. And in 1993, we lost again the final to Martinique in Jamaica this time. And this was basically the same group of players that started out in 1990 that was there. In 1993, I took the All-Caribbean team to England. We played 2 games in England. After the Caribbean Championship, we had a Caribbean team, All-Caribbean team, and I was appointed coach, and we took the team to England, came back home in 1993, and went through a rough period. Ryan took sick, and my doctor recommended that I take a break. You know, so I took a break from the game. I just dropped everything. I abandoned Boys Town. I pulled out of the national program and just got some rest. 1994, I was home one night and heard a knocking, probably about 11 o'clock. You know, heard a knocking at my gate. I look outside, it was Captain Burrell. You know, we didn't have a great relationship at the time, so I was kind of surprised to see him at my gate. But I remember looking through the window and seeing him and saying to myself, what the hell am doing at my gate? I said, I don't know with them, man.
Where you live at that time, coach?
I was living at Arawak Drive, just stop in Cassia Park Road. Just start, you know that gully, the sandy gully that the road run through?
Yeah.
I was living just to the left of that at Arawak Drive. And my wife said to me, go hear what he has to say. So I went out the gate and he said, CB, come always call me CB. My brethren differently, you know, we became good friends. Him said, CB, I want to talk to you. I said, yeah, Captain, what is it? He said, CB, I want to run for the presidency. I want your support. So I said, come. So I invited him inside and we went and we sit down and, you know, we there talk and him explaining everything. He want to go get a foreign coach, you know, to come in. I said, Captain, you know my stand on foreign coach, you know. Because the truth is, Ryan, that we usually get foreign coaches who come and spend 6 months and then leave. And no continuation. And then 4 years later, we get one more, come spend 6 months and gone. So I've always said in it, never, no more foreign coach not coming here for no short period, you know, and not supporting it. So he knew that. This was the reason why he had come. So I said, Captain, you know my stand. He said, yes, that's why I look in your support. He said, I want to go and get a coach for 4 years who want to go to the World Cup. I want to get him in as the director and you as the coach of the team. I said, Captain, if it's 4 years, I'll support you on it. So that's where it actually started. That's where it started. He went overseas, came back with Rene, and the work started there. You know, but Aleman is right. The bulk of the group was from that 1990 group that built up there. You know, I remember the late Dickie Cook saying something to me after the finals in 1991. He said, Coach, I never moved 1 inch out of that stadium. I watched the entire presentation. My arms was full with goosebumps. Dickie is a past Jamaican footballer too, you know, and he's a man who has served the football. He's true that he works at DNG, and DNG was the founder of the minor league. You know, he was part of that. So he had watched the game grow over the years. And he said, Coach, never ever see anything like this in my life. That stadium was full throughout the entire presentation, Ryan. Nobody left the stadium, you know. As I said, it was history being made. You know, the first time we were winning anything. We had beaten a Trinidad team that was champion the year before, 2 years before. They had barely missed out on qualifying for the 1990 World Cup. You know, so I tell you, it was everything. You know, the entire place, the entire country. It was just unbelievable. So we started with, you know, the campaign, and we move on. Our first assignment was, by then, one of the good things that Rene did was to include some of our youth coaches in the program too. You know, people like Liebert and and Jackie and Emerson Henry. You know, came on board. Bertis Bell and Jerome Waite.
Jerome Waite.
Yeah, most of the youth coaches were
Jerome
part
Waite
of
look
it.
like him never getting young, man. I think Jerome Waite him coming on the channel, come share him story. So, Coach Jerry, if you're watching, I'm still waiting. Pick up your phone, Coach Jerry. So, yeah.
Yeah, you know, so our first tour was to Brazil, the January. Went off to Brazil, spent 25 days, played 18 games in 25 games.
Wow.
But I tell you, Ryan, I just want to say a little thing about that. So after a year about no money, and we can't do anything because we don't have any money. That's one of the things I have to give Captain Burrell credit for. Captain Burrell had a will to succeed, and he did everything to make that come true. We went to Brazil literally without anything. And not even certain we paid for the tickets before we leave. But when we went to Brazil, we were able to organize games in Brazil against some of the best teams in the world. Corinthians, Botafogo, Flamengo, Fluminense, São Paulo, you name it. We played 18 games in 25 days. And we had both teams. We had 123 teams, and the senior team members were there, because quite a number of the 123 teams were also part of the senior team. You know, so we had a large squad there, and we played game. We'd play a game in the morning, and we'd play games in the evening. You know, but we made it happen. And that's one of the things that I believe is missing now, the will to succeed. And therefore we come up with some nice excuse. You know, so it went on. There we built up a great relationship between the local staff and the foreign coaches there. We had Montesa, who was the trainer, came in, and myself and Rene shared a great relationship. We had some good times leading up to one point when it got sour. That's another story for another time, but it was good. It was good while it lasted, and we spent time with, after training or a match, the staff would spend time together. We'd sit and we'd talk, we'd share things, we'd spend plenty of time together, really develop a good relationship amongst ourselves, you know, and it blossom out. Again, we see the support for the game coming from private sector because we had a foreign coach.
Why is that, Coach?
I'll say it again to you, Ryan, because poor people were playing the game.
Okay.
Ryan, I make no apology to anybody to say that, you know. Poor people were playing the game. I can give you an example of why. Liebert Aleman had a under-19 team coaching at GC Foster. I would take bus to go down to help him on a Friday. And I remember going one Friday, and Liebert sent him and said, Coach, boy, the guys them training and we're not even certain we're going. I said, Liebert, cut the camp. Send home the youth them. Make the JFF give us some argument. We stopped camp. About a week later, the team had to withdraw because the JFF couldn't find the fund to pay the entrance fee for the team. A month later, 1 month later, the same team was assembled. And Dennis Zady was the coach. You know who came on board? DNG. You know who was in charge at DNG? A man named Turozidi. Coincident? So Ryan, I make no apology. We saw the decline of support for football after Penna left here because poor people were now playing the game. 10 members of the railway team was our formed the national team now, you know. Yeah. And they stopped supporting the game. They stopped supporting it. It hasn't changed. Why believe they're giving Theodore such a hard time?
I give him a hard time, coach.
No, I say not you. I say, why you believe they are giving him such a hard time? It's a little black boy from the Montego Bay.
Okay.
We have done that all the time, Theo. Ryan. We have done that. We have done that. We have done that from the George Thompson, the Jackie Bell, you name it. Our local coaches have gotten a hard time. No support. Very little support, Ryan. When we qualified for 1998, we had only 5 points, you know. Theodore had 4 at this stage. We had only 5. It's not that we had 55. We had only 5. But we never hear nobody talk about Fire Rennie and them going withdraw support and blah, blah, blah. We never hear that. Yeah, very little people turn up to watch our game against El Salvador at the National Stadium. Very little people turn up to watch us beat Canada 1-0. But none of the private sector people opt out. We don't hear anybody talking about Fire Rennie because we had only 5 points. Granted, only 6 teams were in the group at the time. You know, but we never hear the cry. But that's another forum, Ryan. You know, so the 98 campaign, you know, that's how it started, Ryan.
So what will you do against the team them in leading up to that World Cup campaign against Brazil and play against Botafogo? Or the team play against the Brazil team at the time?
I'll tell you something. One of the games that stand out for me, and for me was a turning point of qualifying for the World Cup. We played Corinthians. We played Corinthians a game, and at halftime we were down 4-0. And that game ended 4-0. And it had nothing to do with the fact that the Corinthian team wasn't trying to beat us and score anymore. But Ryan, that our team, the difference between our team in the first half and the second half was unbelievable. And I remember saying to Rennie after that game, so coach, if this team continue to grow like this, we are going straight to France. You know, so that tournament afford us, that tour afford us quality games, quality opponents, and we travel all over Brazil to play. As I said, I for the first time I realized how large Brazil was. We traveled for 4.25 hours one day, Ryan, and I don't remember where we ever took a corner. Was one straight road for as far as you travel. Just one straight the way we were going, 4.25 hours. You know, so we did things, Ryan. We did things. We played games. You know, we played games. You know, people expect to see this team, the harmony of this team similar to the 98 team. It's not going to happen again. That team played 50 plus games every year for 3.5 years.
Yeah.
50 plus games every year for 3.5 years. Those players know each other inside out.
98. So 98 play a lot of games. So at the time, both you and Rennie Simmons were calling to the JFF. Listen, every international break, the Reggae Boyz must play in the game.
Oh yes, oh yes. And when we didn't have any international break, we'd play at home, you know. Every corner of Jamaica knew this team. We would go play everywhere. There's not a available weekend that we would not assemble a team and go play against a parish team. We played game Every nook and cranny of Jamaica people knew this team.
Coach Karumi, he's a Alman assistant coach. And you see the same thing where I tell me, he give me so much knowledge because I'm telling him, say, I'm reading about the 98. But he said to me, Ryan, the best you hear someone speak about it. You get more knowledge from it more than you read it. And Coach Karumi said to me, say, Ryan, same thing where you just say. And big up to your coach. Some of your players them in the comment section. Joe Donor, Coach Boris Johnson. They have been in the comment section now. I say big up to you, coach. So I want to let you know that. Coach Karumi said to me, Ryan, everybody in Jamaica know where the national team coaching. Training. If they're training up at upper camp, everybody, the place full. Training. Even at Boystown when I was growing up, the national team, the bus coming. We're taking out the ball, we're taking out all of the cone and everybody know where the national team coach. But why it's so different now where the JFF or the coach hiding the team from the people.
I'm not certain it's that they're hiding the team. Ryan, as I said, the excuse is that we can't do the same thing like we did in 94 because most of the players are overseas. And I accept that. We cannot do it as often as we do it, but it can be done still. It can still be done. We have moved away from having a local based national team. We need to go back to that. We need to get a local set of players that we can have
in training.
You know, because Ryan, we have seen in this World Cup campaign almost every game that is a new team being played.
Yeah, but coach, you're saying we should have a local team. I'm challenging you, coach, because my viewers them going to cut off my neck if me not ask these questions. You said we must have a local team training, but when you look at the rest of the nation, they don't have a local team training. The same amount of time the Reggae Boyz get, the same amount the US get, the Honduras, the Mexico, the Brazil, all of them get the same amount of time where the national team gets. So why we must special and different?
I hear people say that all the time. I'll tell you the big difference. You see the US and the other national teams span a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Every player who used to play on the US team, whether I'm playing in Germany or in the US here presently, would have known each other from they were 6 years of age. You understand me?
Not this US team though.
Which one? Why you say not this one?
Because most of them are overseas. Most of them are immigrant.
Oh, give me them.
Some of the USA player like Dex and Christian Police.
But not most of them. Not most of them. Not most of them, Ryan. Most of them grew up in the States playing.
Yeah, they grew up in the they grew up in the States.
But from they have 6, they have been playing travel
together.
Soccer. They knew each other. They go college in the States. They played against each other at college. We have players that we have invited to Jamaica now that not even in England, them just probably see each other when a match there. These Brazilians who we see overseas grew up in Brazil.
Yeah,
they know each other. It's different, Ryan. Ryan, I'm not saying that we are to have our overseas players coming to Jamaica for a camp, you know.
You say local, we're playing the local.
We need to identify a group of local based players and spend some money on improving them. Give them exposure to foreign to games.
But the JFF, they're going to say they don't have the money to invite them in camp.
And I say it all the time. That's a big excuse. There's no will to make it happen. That's why it's not happening, Ryan. There's no will. There's no will to make it happen. Because you know why, Ryan? It's easy to just go to England and get 30 players. Ryan, short-term solution, long-term problem. No, Ryan.
You're right, coach. You're right.
Solution, long-term problem.
Ideas. most of these ideas we were saying it, and they keep. I interview people from the JFF, and they keep saying the federation don't have no money.
The federation didn't have no money in 1994 either. They didn't have any, Ryan. They didn't have any. But we had a president who had a will to succeed. He had a will to succeed, Ryan. Ryan,
Okay.
most of the major support for the 98 campaign came in 1996, you know. After it looked like we're going to qualify, you know.
Yeah.
You know, that's why sometimes people tell you that Captain Boyle thief the money. I tell them him have a right to thief it if him thief it. You know, I have no apology to make to nobody about that.
Yeah.
And
But coach, I want to ask you something, because this has been keeping knocking the national program over and over, and it buffering to me, coach. I live in Canada, and if I get a kids born in Canada, right, and he want to represent for the Jamaican national team, I don't want to hear the same problem what happened in 98. 98, we have some English-based player come and play for the team. Before that, some of the English-based players. So we're not playing on the tough surface until we qualify for the World Cup. I listened to past player we're playing in that 98, and they said it. Player from England don't want to play unless us qualify for the World Cup. Or we get this band together, because
I'm not so certain that is true, though, Ryan. I'm not so certain that is true. Ryan, we didn't go out and invite a whole lot of English players, you know.
No. I'm not saying only English. The coaching staff invite. You have about 4 or 5 English-based players in the team 98, right?
Yeah.
And people were saying, not people, the past player. I don't want to call anyone. I see them do interview, and they said the moment Rennie Simmons lost some respect with some of the local players, when Rennie Simmons go overseas, and some of the players blatantly tell the federation they not want to play on the tough surface unless the team qualify for the World Cup, them will come in. And the local player, they may have a problem about that.
I can give you a confirmation on that, because it's the first time hearing that, Ryan.
Yeah, last week and the week before, I listened to interview, and player said, you know, the 98, even they said fight go on at the at France and all of them stuff their way, because some of the local player them didn't get along with the English based player.
That is strange. I can't remember a case of any fighting amongst the players in France. Ryan, we had 3 players that joined us during the campaign: Dean Burton, Paul Hall, and Fitzroy Simpson. Paul Hall and Fitzroy actually came down to try out with us. Dean Burton just accompanied them because they were all at the same club and were good friends. He didn't actually come down. He just started trading with us, and things from there on. You know, after the qualification, we invited Marcus Gale, Robbie Earl, and Frank Sinclair, and Darren Powell. Those 4 players were 2 players that came in. I'm not certain what kind of any infighting. Not that I am aware of that we had fight in France because the players and the English players didn't get on. I don't recall any such thing.
Okay.
We have local players who were dropped out of the squad because of these 4 players coming in. That's
and they didn't happy about that, because listen to somebody.
They weren't, and I myself weren't happy about it either.
Yeah.
You know, I thought it was unfair to some of the players that who had gone through the entire qualification, and but it's one of the things that I didn't have any control over. You know, but I too supported those players. I thought it was unfair for those players who were left off after the qualification. You know, before the qualification, yes, but I don't believe that you know, the 4 players I just mentioned to you, that there was any animosity with those players and the local base players who were part of the squad.
Yeah.
I don't remember any infighting in camp.
Fair enough. But some of the player them they said that's one of the things that some of the local player them lost respect, because at the time they said you
Of course.
and they said you as René Simons as God to them. Anything you said to them, they run you like brick wall, they will die for you. And some of the local player them were feeling away up to listen to some of them last week, and they really hurt about it because they said that was their bread and butter. They ride through thick and thins. And then when they reach the World Cup, you know, René Simons, he said he wanted to go to the World Cup. I didn't hear what René Simons said at the time, but I listened to some of the players that were a part of the team or part of the squad. They said René Simons said he wanted to go there to win the World Cup, and he going to England and to get few players. So that's what some of the players said.
Again, you know, I don't want to say it wasn't said, you know, but I personally didn't hear that. I don't believe that we could talk about winning the World Cup. You know, that was never discussed as a coaching staff. The truth is, Ryan, that not only players lost respect for René, but I myself too, as a coach.
Yeah.
You know,
But they didn't say that.
Uh-huh.
Listen to some of the player them. Listen to some of the player them have the utmost response. If they say that, they said Carlburn, they love Carlburn, but René Simon, they kind of lack it. But you saying you feel like some of the player lost respect for you.
No. I lost respect for René.
Oh, you lost respect for René, and why is it?
Things developed there in, you know, after the qualification. After the qualification, I tell you, you know, players were dropped out. But if I didn't have strong support, I would be dropped out too. I would have been dropped out too. I tell you, Ryan, I'll give you something that a lot of people don't know. After we qualified for the World Cup, I actually resigned from the tell the president that I wasn't going to France, you know.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because of how things were going, how terrible things were.
Yeah.
It became real bad. It became real bad. And I remember we went to Korea. We went to Korea to play a game against South Korea. We traveled for 22 hours from LA to Korea. And probably for the first time, myself and René share seat in first class because some of the other officials weren't there. Only myself and him was there. And we had a long talk going. But unfortunately, next morning we wake up and the coach wasn't talking to me. I just couldn't understand why. And finally I asked why, only to find out that he told me that some of the players told him that I went around to the back of the plane to tell the players that Walter Boyd should have been there, which was so untrue. You know, so we lost it. We lost it in all the way from after the qualification. The relationship between me and René just wasn't the same. You know, so I understand what the players are saying, and I know some of the players. I'm calling. I know some of the players, and that I felt too. It was unjust for them not to go after we had qualified. You know, I never hear the coach mention anything about winning the World Cup because we all knew it was far-fetched for us to win the World Cup. You know, the mere fact that we are qualified, we wanted to enjoy that. So, but you know, they're right. You know, the players lost respect for René because of some of the things that he did.
Yeah. That's just life. That's life. But I was reading I was reading and Coach Karome, you know that Coach Karome, Coach Brown, has been coaching me from Excelsior days from under 16. And he has been watching my channel for over a year and didn't realize me. I'm so ashamed of him, Coach Karome. I'm telling you, I'm ashamed of you. Him watching me for almost a year, Coach, and he didn't realize it. This is Rima from Donga Rima.
Ryan, don't knock him, Ryan. Don't knock him, Ryan. I tell you, Ryan, you know, it's...
But
I know you're from your small, Ryan. I know you're from your small. And you spoke about the fact that I helped you to start a business.
Yeah.
And the first time I saw the channel was the interview with Coach Price.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I didn't know you were doing this, Ryan.
Yeah.
And as I tell you, I'm so proud of you. And I know where you're coming from, Pops. I know where you are at now.
Yeah. Coach, people, let me tell you this, Coach. When I said Coach Brown give my first business, people, I have almost 200 people. And I know I said this in the introduction, and I know many of you guys wasn't here, and I know many of you guys won't watch back the interview from the start. It was a fantastic edition I give Coach Brown. You know, I walk up to Coach Brown, I think one Saturday morning, and I walk up to Coach Brown and I say, Coach, I think at the time I was 11 at the time. And I walk up to Coach Brown in him blue van. You were in a blue van. You were changing the clothes right at the back door. The back door. See? I walk up to Coach and I said, Coach Brown, I want to start a business. Coach Brown were putting on him shirt, guys. And he spin around. He said, look, man, I really want to start a business because Coach Brown at the time said to me, no other youngster in Rima come to him and have this idea. I want to start a business. Instead of begging Coach Price and begging Coach Brown, I want to start a business. And Coach said, spin around to me, guys. I said, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to sell banana chips. I want to sell chocolate. I want to sell cigarette. I want to sell beanie. I want to sell every lucky thing. And he said, where are you going to buy these stuff? And he said, don't worry. And he said to the water boy at the time, Frank, come here. And you give Frank the pen and paper. Tell Frank what you need. I say, I want a cigarette. You know that, Coach? You buy me a half cart of cigarette at the time. Half cart of cigarette. A whole heap of cigarette, Coach. When me say whole heap, I could give my auntie and I could have give my cousin to sell for me at the time. While me at Boystown selling. And me get cigarette, craving here, bead, everything you give Frank to buy. And I get it the same. I get it, I talk to you Saturday and Frank give me Monday morning, Monday evening when he come. And Coach, I was going at primary school at the time. I went to junior high school. I went to Excelsior High. And I have that business right through. And that support me, my family, my auntie. I could pay my auntie, I could pay my cousin to sell. Because I have too many cigarettes at the time. I'm telling you, 10 years ago, Coach.
Ryan,
every time I leave Excelsior, Coach, Manning Cup camp, I could go to them and get our $300, $400, $600. When I'm going back to school, I get the profit. So, Coach, I'm telling you, you play a big part.
Ryan, they say teach a man to fish. You don't have to give him a fish every day.
And you know what, Coach? I don't like to sell at Boystown. You know why I don't like to sell at Boystown? As bad as thing is my home,
yeah,
they trouble me a lot. Coach, they tease. You know, Rima, if you're not strong and you can't manage your teasing, you will quit as a youngster. I like to go Harborview. I like to go Waterhouse. I like to go Stadium. I selling them time the bogo go myself for $1. Cigarette I sell for $20. And Coach, you play a major part in my career. as a young man going to attend primary school, junior high school, that business where you give me coach. And I tell you what, that business turn over to my auntie now. My auntie selling phone cars, cigarette. No, from that same business you give me.
Glad I could help. Glad I could help. Ryan, it has always been the thing that I want to do, and I try and encourage people. Don't just come beg about it. You know, and I have stocked out a lot of people, Ryan. I've buy stock for a lot of people, you know, and hopefully that it has helped them a lot. There's a guy named Liquor only. Liquor Marcus Blackstock brother.
Yeah.
Liquor used to go buy and sell, you know. And I remember he started out, used to go downtown and buy things to sell. Until he started flying out to go Curacao and Panama and them places to buy things and sell to.
Yeah.
You know, so Ryan, I'm a believer in teaching a man to fish instead of just giving him a fish.
That's true. I always respect that, man. And Coach Price, big up yourself. He has done great for me. Bang, Cooley, all of you guys. Kirky Bull. You remember Kirky Bull?
Yes. Still link up Kirky.
Listen, you need to give me Kirky Bull number every single day. Kirky Bull, that's the manager of the under 15 team. And if we don't get to lunch, we breakfast, lunch, and 3 meals a day in one. When we go into high school, we're getting Boystown has done so much for that community. And I tell you, coach, I went back to Boystown the other day and I want to come out of me. I start to cry. Because I know how much this club has done for me, my brother, my father, my uncle, Diego Garden, Windy, my uncle, Joe Dona. Boystown a big part of my career, coach. And I just want to tell you, thank you very much for that. But let's get back to the football, coach. 98. What happened to Walter, boy? Special talent. How special Walter is. We have ever seen a player that played for Jamaica as Walter, boy? They always telling me that.
We have seen there's always a succession of the Walter boys, you know. You know, I look at little Tyreek and Flemings, and they could be a fitting piece. Leon Bailey is probably the what Walter Boy did for the 98 campaign can be. I like him for that. I really encourage him along that direction. But they've always been a Walter Boyd in our football history. You know? Sadly, Ryan, that sometimes we see the talented one, they don't work hard enough. They don't, and when I mean work hard enough, it means attitude and everything. The goals are not far stretch, and satisfaction level seems to be below. You know, because I've seen too many talented ones that have not gone on. You know, but Walter was a special one. You know, as I said, tell you I invited Walter in 1991 to be part of the Jamaica team. He was still attending school. You know, himself and Roderick Reed were 2 players who were very, very tricky. Did a lot with the ball. Very good in 1v1 situation. I've heard people talk a lot about Walter not liking the train, which is so untrue. He trains hard. Oftentimes you gotta run Walter off the field. He trains hard. It's Walter not going on is probably lack of proper guidance. Probably not maturing fast enough to understand that there's a life after football. You know, because the truth is, Ryan, that we have seen people in the 98 campaign who made opportunity of what was presented to them. You know, and it's better off today because of grasping the opportunity. if we look at Ricardo Gardner and Jermaine Johnson, two players at Bolton together, that when you talk to the gaffer, you know, we discuss both players, and he said to me, Coach, for me, Ricardo's football has nothing to do with how impressed I am with it. It was his whole attitude. You know, so it's opportunity missed by some of the good ones, and Walter is one of those. Missed opportunity
to manage.
Huh?
He's difficult to manage.
No, he wasn't. I didn't find him difficult to manage. But there are things outside of the game that individuals have to take care of. You know, the whole personal life. When you have them 1.5, 2 hours in a training session, and when they leave there, they are big people. Like I tell you, the pro in England, when he leaves training, nobody follow him home to see what he's going to do. You know. But you're not seeing Ricardo Gardner turning a Kentucky Fried Chicken place to buy food to eat. We'd go home, we'd leave training, and we stop by Ricardo. Because Ricardo's home was the closest to the training ground. We'd stop there, and he'd head upstairs to go sleep. I put on a pot and we cook some food. Then we wake up, we eat some food, and the Pops, we drive go Old Trafford. We drive down to Old Trafford.
That's the name them call you, Pops?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'm getting a whole heap of text from the past player them now, and they say, yo, tell Coach Barry, say, big up yourself, him locking into watching. I don't know why this man hiding from the camera, you know, Coach.
Yeah, Barris
Johnson, you need to come out, Bridging. Stop hide behind the camera.
Yeah, Barris have a lot of story to tell, too.
Yeah. But they call you Pops. I realize they call you Pops.
Yeah, it's because I call all of them Pops too, you know. Yeah, you know, I tell you, Ryan, I tell people that most of them are big men now, married, have them kids. But if I see any of them down, say, hey boy, come here. You know, so them don't be about this in them.
Yeah.
Because of the relationship we share. You know, they have always been respectful, and we have our fights with some of them, but the respect is still there. Because they know the lines that we can cross. You know, and I'm a believer, Ryan, if you show respect, you'll get respect. You know, it can be the one-way street.
Yeah. What about Nandelo? It's very difficult to deal with, Coach. Because
Nandy's a difficult guy, but a great guy too. You know, I tell you, Ryan. You know, every time we talk about the players, then people tell, well, Reggae Boyz have been disciplined. I say, yes, who? Call some name. It's like Nandelo and Walter Boyd, but nobody else after. You know, some say, then 2 out of 25 and you feel bad about that, and you say the group in discipline. But I'll tell you something about Onandi. Me and Onandi had a run in the campaign, you know, and it wasn't just because it was not Onandi. It was anybody who did the same thing that Onandi did with Pops to tackle him. You know, yeah. That's how I operate. But we have developed great respect for each other. Onandi is just an individual that if we travel, for instance, to a school, to visit a school, and you stand one side and you see a group of kids around a player, you don't have to ask who that player is, you know. It's Onandi. You know, he has this way with kids. But that's Onandi. Onandi is I mean, his game itself can sum it up, you know. His game itself, and like everything else, that it's Onandi is going to do it. Onandi is going to do it. He's that sort of individual. You know, and he gets in a lot of scrap because of that. But you know, I mean, we have, I say, we have had our run-ins, but we have grown and still have respect for each other. Walter is, is somebody who I'm very, very close to, and tell you that I am just discouraged with the fact that Walter is where he is today, because there's so much out there for Walter Boyd. Walter Boyd could have make a good life out of this game, using this game, and you're sad that it happened. It's somebody who I love dearly, and you can do so much and no more.
All right. Yes, coach. Some of the good thing about 98 World Cup, playing into the World Cup, play against Argentina, defeat Japan 2-0. How it feel to win the only game in the 4 game that they play in the World Cup, in the World Cup. France, I watch you guys. I was doing a little bit of research coming into this video, and I saw you and René Simons were playing volleyball on the beach. The team have a good time, and you were looking. You don't change, coach. That I realize it. You don't change no time at all. It seems they're getting old. It's keeping getting young. What you doing?
It's a little man, Father Sherlock says the big man upstairs. It's the big man upstairs. Ryan, I tell you, I point out some bad things inside. And I always tell people, when I talk about the 98 campaign, so many good things happen. That's what I want to dwell on.
True.
You understand me? That's why every time I get a chance to talk about it, that's what I want to dwell on. You see that beach thing you talk about is a little clip that every now and then I just bring it up and see it. Because the joy that you see out there, Ryan, that's how the group was.
Yes, especially when you guys going into the go chain, because I do a little bit of research and I see the fun. You can see it when people happy. You can see on their face when they're coming off the bus. You have the Beanie Man tune playing and all of these things going on. You guys having a good time in Japan.
We had a great time, Ryan. We had a great time, Ryan. It was beautiful, Ryan. I have some video clips that only me have.
Yeah?
Only me have of the team. The team was just unbelievable. The camaraderie of the players, it was second to none. Second to none. The relationship with people like Ricardo Gardner and Pepe Goodison was like a protective one. Pepe was responsible for protecting Bibi on the field.
Yeah.
We lost a stalwart in farmer Peter Cargill. If you ever be on the sideline at training session and hear Peter Cargill and Fitzroy Simpson clash up, because the two of them also same personality, leaders, when the two of them clash up on the field, but that is out on the field. When they come off the field, it's the same thing. Total different thing. Nothing is brought off the field. And come on, we talk about Anandi. We had a little problem in France, for instance. And the starters and the non-starters were being differentiated. Anandi was one of the starters, You don't join the non-starters. It was the leader of the group. Yeah, that's how it was, That's what it was. The staff, I mentioned earlier about the breakdown in relationship between, staff and coach and Rene and the Jamaican section of the coaching staff as opposed to the Brazilian section of the coaching staff.
How many of the Brazilian staff when you have?
When we went to France, by them so Norfolk, I don't remember the number. But a plenty Brazilian staff join we at France. We have people who do toe and nail, At the first time in my life, I never do my toe and my nail so often. We have a toe doctor them come. Every other day I go do my toe and my nail. We never go do manicure and pedicure. Me that World Cup, me do that every day. Because we are we're not afraid to do that.
Yeah.
But we had a big breakdown there. But the staff and all, when it was good, it was good. Rene is a man in the early days. He would have entertained the staff anytime we after dinner session. Because him have joke for tell all, but him have a whole heap of joke about Portuguese. You know, the Portuguese people. But it was fun. It was great, I tell you. The relationship was great. Rene, when in the early days, Rene do nothing without me, you know. Nothing. One company gave Rene some shirts to train in with his name written on it. You know, him refused to wear it because him never give me a set of that shirt. Wow. Until him brought mine, come with my name on it. And you know, that's another indicator of how private sector people think, you know.
Wow.
They brought a set of shirt with Rene name on it. And he refused to wear it. Until they brought a set for me. That's the kind of relationship we had in the early days. You know, but I say Ryan, the 98 campaign was great. The players you see who participate in that to this day, we are still very close.
I realize that. Listen to the player.
Very close. The Paul Hall, the Fitzroy Simpson, the Dean Burton, we still keep in touch. My crew, my local crew, I don't know if it deal with them. I tell you the truth. Them and Pops are there. Ryan, I tell you, about the level of respect. When somebody start running on, one member of the national team bought one of them cut off back van, you know, and I was driving up to the player's house, and this van overtake me right at Oxford Road, you know, Half Tree Road, you know. Stop at the stoplight, you know. Not one of them have a shirt, you know, Ryan. And me just drive my car in front of them and block them, you know. I say, oh, everybody put on a shirt. What I do? And just say, sorry, Pops. And everybody just that's a relationship we had. You know, that's a relationship we had, Ryan. Ryan, the good times were very, very good. And they far outweigh the bad times.
Yeah. I have to agree with you that, man. I hear Coach Aliman talk. You know, I'm so blessed, Coach. I separate myself with people who can teach me about the game, and you know, when I wrong, they can tell me, say, listen, when you talk about Tapa Ryan, you should have said that. You understand? I accept that. I accept that. You know what I mean? But I have
Ryan,
some good
truth is as a journalist, because that's the role you're into now, you know. Anything you feel to say, just make certain it's honest. That's all.
Yeah.
You understand me? You're going to say things that people not going to like today and probably like tomorrow. But I just, for your sake, I just want you to, anything at all that you say, just make it the honest truth. You can live with it. Even if Carl Brown object to it, Ryan is the honest truth coach.
Yeah.
You understand me, Papa?
Yes,
you knock about, you know, our game in France. Our first game, we had high hopes in France. Because I'll tell you something, Ryan. We really think that we could have gone through to the next round in France. Because of how we couldn't have asked for a better draw in the World Cup. Couldn't have asked for a better draw. We were playing against a Croatia team who were also at the World Cup for the first time, you know. Even though they had players who had played at the World Cup before. You understand? But they too were at the World Cup for the first time. Japan was at the World Cup for the first time. So we couldn't have asked for a better draw than what we got in the 98 campaign. Yeah. And we really felt that we could have pulled both Croatia and Japan. And Argentina again knock us out. But we feel we could have grabbed the second spot.
Yeah.
We had a lot of turmoil going into the Croatia game. I don't believe that we went. As I tell people, Ryan, my biggest regret about the World Cup is that I don't believe we went to the World Cup with the sort of physical condition that we played the qualifiers in. That's my biggest regret. Even leading up to the Croatia game, too many little things happened inside it that messed us up. You know, too many things. And even the game itself, we we had opportunity that we could have pulled at least a 1 point from Croatia. That's my feeling of it. But I feel that we could have won that game. You know, in hindsight, I'm just looking, and if everything was as good as it was going into the World Cup, that we could have beaten both Croatia and Japan. The game against Argentina again had a messy situation. You know, it just wasn't right. We did too many things inside. We make too many changes to the team that I thought wasn't necessary. But so be it. But the Japan game was like winning the World Cup for me. We really played well. We got 2 amazing goals from Theodore inside there. But I just want to say something to you, Ryan. 1998 being my first World Cup that I was physically at, was my design, you know, because I'd always said I don't want to go to a World Cup unless Jamaica was participating. And even when the 1994 World Cup was playing in the US, I had opportunity to come to the World Cup here in 1994, and I turned it down. Because I'd commit myself to, I only want to be at a World Cup if Jamaica was there. So being there was just fulfilling a goal that I'd set for myself. To stand there, Ryan, and listen to the national being played on our first game against Croatia was just unbelievable. You know, you grow up, Ryan, and you see the national anthem being played and listen to World Cup over and over and watch World Cup, but nothing like just standing there on the sideline and listening to the national anthem play. You know, I have a picture with my arms, me and some Renee, with our arms around each other, and it's one of my great picture.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of the pictures that just bring back everything of where we were before the turmoil started, where we were as a staff. You know, we lost some of our local coaches through stupidness. You know, it bothers, it hurts. Not much you could do about it, but again, those are some of the little things that you just hope never happen in the campaign.
Well said, Coach. Coach, Father Sherlock, big up to Father Sherlock. He's the man, that Boys Town man who sing the national anthem. So big up to Father Sherlock. So
he never really sing it. He wrote the words.
Wrote the national anthem. Sorry
I can tell you something about that. Father told me that after independence, there was a competition out for people to write the national anthem, you know. And he was on the verge of starting to do that when he was seconded to Colombia. You know, he's a Baptist minister.
Yeah.
And he was seconded to Colombia, Bogota, in Colombia. And he said, while in Colombia, the house that he was staying at, the gentleman had a daughter. And in a conversation one night, he started to tell her about the competition. And that, you know, by the time he get back, the competition would have been closed. So he's not bothering to write the anthem. And the sicker girl encouraged him to write it. The sicker girl told him that he should continue to write it. He finished writing the anthem while on the flight back from Bogota, you know, from Colombia. That's when he finished writing. When he got back to Jamaica, they had extended the date. That's how his entry got in.
Great piece of work.
So Father Sherlock is, you know, Father Sherlock is one human being that is such an influence in my life. Father tell me, Ryan, that he's a now man. Him say him don't put off anything that him can do today for tomorrow. Him is a now man. And I remember the minor league team preparing once, Ryan, And father came down Boys Town and we were talking. I said, Friday night, look a problem. He said, what is it? I said, I don't have any boots for the players. You know, we start this weekend. You know. He said, what? He said, come up to the Y tomorrow. We have a meeting. Well, I reach up to the Y, invite me inside. And before the meeting, they got into agenda, introduced me to the members who were there and tell them why I was there. So he said to me, tell the members what you need. So I told everybody what we need, you know, give them the cost and everything. So one member of the board said, okay, Carl, we'll discuss it. We'll when the treasurer come, we'll get him to sign the check for you. And we see that they get to you. Father stopped him and said, no. We're going to give Carl the check now, and we'll tell the treasurer when he comes. So I got the boots for the kids. But that was how father operate, you know. Father Sherlock was just an unbelievable human being. Father, I don't know much you know about the Rima war that destroyed Boys Town.
Yeah, Rima and Tivoli.
Yes. Father told me that he one day after things settled down, he went around to the building and by Buckers and Boys Town here.
Yeah.
And a man climbed up on the wall and him said to him, Father, not even you can bring back this. And father said, yes, son, but the big man upstairs can do it. Father get back every building up, every piece up. Father is just God sent to Boys Town. That's why I tell people, Ryan, whatever state we see Boys Town is now,
it will come up.
The smoke is still there. We just need to fan it. It will rise again. Boys Town is not man-made, you know. God place.
True.
Yeah, God place, Ryan. And we'll see it up. We'll see it up. You're younger than me, so you might see it. I might dead and gone, but it's going to come up back, Ryan.
Coach, one thing for sure, they said this interview, I needed to save it because I know you love save thing in the thing. This interview is a classic interview. I want to be a part of Coach Brown history. So I want you to keep this interview. I'm going to send it to you and you keep it in your thing where you have the rest of your video them. I'm going to keep it. Trust me. It's a pleasure to interview you, but I could never come here and talk because a lot of people from the Cayman Island calling in right now and I'm not answering them. So you manage the Cayman national team. He has done so much for the Cayman national team and the people in Cayman. Talk to me about how you get the job to coach a Cayman national team. And why you bring them to Boys Town all the time.
You know, when I reach home, I carry them home. I had migrated at the time. I was in the US. I lived in Florida. I got a job in Chicago. A friend of mine actually invited me to coach a team he had in Chicago, women's team. So I was there working with them and went back to the hotel one night and got a phone call from the president, then president of the Cayman Island Football Association, Jeff Webb, invited me to be director of the Cayman Islands football. Now, Cayman Islands has always been my little home away from home. You know, I've gone there through Winston Chung for you'd invite me to be a part of his annual camp that he has in the Cayman Island. And I'll go there every day. So the people who are there, you have young men now, you have men who are now playing in the national team who were little boys when I were there. I grew them up. I coached them a lot. I actually coach a Cayman, watch a Cayman under 20 team, beat a Jamaica under 20 team with a lot of the youngsters that I coached at camp. You know, so it was for me an opportunity to serve the Caribbean because I've always wanted to be not just in Jamaica, but be part of the development of football in the Caribbean. And as I said, Cayman is a little nice, is part of my whole art. So in 2007, I went to the Cayman Island, signed a 4-year contract with them, and became technical director and coach of the national team there. Great 4 years. Great 4 years. I have a friend, a coach in the Cayman Island by the name of Gilly Seymour. Gilly is my bosom buddy friend, you know, good friend, yard and abroad. Anyway, no water we did. So going back to the Cayman Islands, I'd gone there several times to do coaching, you know, coach a club by the name of FC International there. So I was very familiar with the players in the Cayman Island, and the reception there was just unbelievable. Everybody was just happy. We had a great coaching staff. We had a trainer who was from Brazil, T, young trainer, but dedicated to his job, but just amazing. And we had some great time in the Cayman Island. We had some great time. I eventually got them through the first round of the Caribbean Championship for the first time in about 7 years. Played a World Cup qualifier, probably the best of all. We went to Bermuda. We went to Bermuda. The Bermuda team had us down 1-0. We eventually came back to draw 1-1. We had won the World Cup after that victory. Some real good players, good times, and I was so happy that I was able to make a contribution to the Cayman Islands football.
Most definitely, coach. So you took them to Boys Town a few occasions. I get some nice, pretty Stevie Gerrard boots, Adidas. You know, I get shots. I get so much thing from the Cayman national team. Coach, you are a blessing to the Chenstown community, man. I have a few Adidas boots where I get from a few of the Cayman players. You know, Stevie Gerrard playing at them type of boots.
EHK and some of them still correspond to.
Yeah?
Yeah, because they never forget the Boys Town you them. I mean, you know, they come, they saw probably the real life situation. Because the Cayman Island, they don't see these things. They don't see youngsters running around barefoot playing soccer.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember we going back to the hotel and they just wanted to know what they could do. You know, they literally gave away everything. I don't remember they went back with their boots.
True, they give away everything. Puppy was the man who was doing the massage for them and thing, and you know, Oti was the lines man and thing. We have a good time on the line.
It was good. It was good, and they enjoy themselves. They look forward to coming down here every time, man. Every time and you know, as I said, it's bringing home the reality to them more than anything else. That they were able to see it firsthand by themselves, you know, of players who talented players, barefoot, them just the enthusiasm you guys show was just unbelievable. They took back that with them, and I certainly we see any of them now that we have a couple of the players, two brothers who actually came from Honduras, originally from Honduras, were playing for the Cayman Island. Ryan, one slipped me, but I mean, they just fell in love with the Boys Town family. You know?
Well said, coach. But coach, I can't make you come and don't speak about this. So, what are some of the things we can do to move our football going forward? I want to see people giving thing where we can fix it, solution where we can fix the Jamaican football and the Jamaican team going forward. What can some of the thing the Football Federation implement to make our football going forward?
Ryan, presently I believe the integrity of our association is in question, you know, and the subject come up, whether true or not. We every time we hear people talk about, you know, private sector not giving because they don't trust the people who are in charge of the game right now. I believe that is something first and foremost we have to look at. How can we improve that? You know, how can we get private sector people to come on board and feel comfortable in supporting, taking up their hard-earned cash to help along the way. That is that I'm not certain I have an answer right now. Maybe it's all personality change that we need to do. But then you just have to wonder, because we see the Premier League Association that garner a lot of support from private sector.
200 million
is now in hot water, and people is now questioning what is happening with the money. You know, so here we have a set of people that comes in and everybody is saying, see how much money these people get, because private sector people trust them and is willing to give to them. But then you just wonder how much this will hurt all of that. All the private sector people are willing to help these people. You know, how much will they contribute? That's one of the things we have to look at first and foremost, Ryan. How are we going to improve the integrity of the federation? It might mean change of personnel. You know, it might be a little more open policy that people can see transparency in what is happening. You know, the truth is, Ryan, that everybody who gives a dollar is going to question it. You know, and people going to call you thief if them don't know you, if them just feel that you're thieving them thieving. You don't necessarily have a thief. Or with change, it's difficult. As I say, it might be change of personnel. It might be a little more open in terms of transparency. But I believe that's one of the big factors right now that has to be addressed, because it can't work without private sector. The JFF itself don't have money to do all that is necessary to aid in the development of players. That's the reality of it. You know, and therefore it's private sector people who have to help that, who have to come on board. If we just roll back to Germany, in Germany it was private, it was the clubs themselves who contribute to to a fund that started the development of young players in Germany, that they have benefited from in winning the World Cup and the European Championship. You know, so the truth is that money is needed for development. The JFF itself don't have money for that. So I mean, first and foremost, that's what we have to look at, Ryan. We need to restructure our youth program. Presently, I believe there's a no in that. I'm not even certain that the minor league competition still goes on. And minor league,
it still goes on.
It still goes. But minor league was one of those that produced most of our national players. You know, that was the starter for most of them. If we look at our school structure, which has probably played a bigger role in development of players more than anything else in Jamaica, but that alone can't be done. That need help, you know. How can the clubs help in development of young players? Again, we talk about money. Most clubs don't have any money to do anything. Right now, we are seeing the Premier League clubs barely can support the team, the one team they have. Years ago, Ryan, every club was mandated to have a under-23 squad, you know. Years ago. The JFF couldn't find sponsorship for that. Now that is literally your feeder for the club's Premier League team. But that had to be abandoned because the clubs were taking up the cost of that, which they couldn't afford.
I remember the under 21 because I played in the under 21 and it worked
good.
Yeah,
right.
Bobella, all of these young players from Boys.
Right. And that had to be abandoned. That had to abandon, Ryan. You know, so again, it's development is important, but lack of funding is going to curtail development.
So that are some of the things the JFF and the Federation need to fix. But what are your thoughts on the current national team? Most of them say this team better than the 98 team. What do you say about that?
I said that long ago. You know, when we saw the names that were popping up, I said that, you know, that there's a talented bunch, probably more talented than the 98 campaign. Right on the 98 campaign, what this team will probably never achieve. The chemistry that was among the 98 campaign may never ever come amongst this team. I'm a little skeptical now and a little reserved in terms of what I talk about most talented with some of the players that I've seen participating now. You know, the truth is that we have not gotten some of the names that were listed before. So maybe when we get
We get them, of course, coach. We get them. Most of the players, them we get Mikel Antonio, we get Kemar Roof, we get Demari Gray.
we haven't seen Ravel yet. I haven't seen Ravel.
Ravel in the squad. Ravel in the squad
This
now.
what I'm saying. You know, at the end of the day, we might be able to assemble all the names that we heard. You know, if you look right now, the team is literally playing without Leon for most of the games.
Yeah, but because of injured, he back.
I know, yeah, you know, so I still believe, right, if we can get the names, all the names together at some point, the good thing is that we see the names listed again. Hopefully that we do have late withdrawal from it, like we have seen in the past.
You have that in the past, coach. We only have so much withdrawal with this current team now.
The last game we had Anton 2 days before the game withdraw for lack of travel arrangement, you know. Huh? So yes, we need to know. For me, the coach need to know who is going to have as of now.
Yeah. But
Ryan,
you know that
I have a little youth team that I coach, and I need at least a week to know all the players who are available for the game the following weekend. It helps you to prepare.
Yeah.
If you hear Saturday evening that 2 players withdraw, what you can do about that?
Yeah, and what I really like, I realized that the team will fly this Monday to Honduras. So, and the game is playing on Friday. So they get more time to preparation. I've been saying that, coach. I've been around a lot of good Coach Brown, Angie Price, Liebert Alleman, Jackie Walters, Neve Bell, Coach Karumi, Coach Boris Johnson. I know what preparation mean. Preparation not mean only on the pitch, but to get everything organized, the flight, all of these things is very important. And I think the last game against Honduras, I think the JFF has done fantastic with the preparation, with the private plane going to Honduras, and then this time around they're leaving out very early. And I hope they learn from that, leaving out early to Honduras to give us more time to secure into getting a more training session. That will help the team a lot. And they're leaving out this Monday to El Salvador to play on Friday. So that's going to be a big thing. And what I realize with the team, I don't know if it's the coach is a slow learner or the players are a slow learner, but it takes us 2 to 3 games to get in our rhythm. Why is that so long? United get the same time, Mexico get the same time, and they can just bam. When I look on this Canadian national team, they're just fantastic out this run.
Ryan, I said it before, I'll say it again. The familiarity of the players are totally different from what we see in the US and Canada. Because these players, the Canadian players and the US players, are players who grew up playing together. It's easier for them to get back together and start that fire than a set of players coming in now who Ryan, when the players go on a tour, you know, they are divided up in hotels, you know, probably 2 to a hotel room. I don't know. Maybe at the end of the day, it's a one man.
Yeah, they have that. Cause I speak to a few of the players them where some player in this room.
But no, in days gone by, it's only a TV we turn on now and we talk about the show up on the TV. Now players might barely turn on a TV, can go up on his laptop. And him put a headphone over him head and him listen that, him hear that.
Yeah.
Not but even the man in him room, if him cough, him hear him.
Coach, you're right, you know, because I listen to the Canadian coach. Every Pananak him been there. If it's a corner league, him been there. This man, one of the most man on TV in Canada. The Canadian national coach. Every sports I play. People say, what are you doing here? I'm still looking. I'm still looking for a player. And what I really like about the Canadian team, coach, when they like the team call up, you probably see 1 or 2 changes to the team. The same player, continuity. But I just can't get that in my Reggae Boyz because I don't know who going to be available. And then this next thing to some of the English club putting a lot of pressure on the Jamaican player.
Oh yes, that has always happened, Ryan. That has always happened. These players are under pressure to make decisions about their future, you know.
So is it the federation can write to FIFA because it's only our player? Why it not happen to Canada player? Why they don't respect Jamaica? They see that
no, them have no respect, none whatsoever, Ryan. Ryan, it's not new thing. It just always exist. Ryan, Leon Bailey, earlier in an interview, the federation nearly cut him short, you know, because he said the very same thing you just said, you know. It's time we settle down and have a squad.
Yeah, but is it right for a player to come out and say that, coach?
Yes, man. What's wrong with it? Ryan, I'm a part of it, Ryan.
Yeah.
Ryan is part of it. Is the most important part of it. Players. He has more right to talk about it than me as the coach, Ryan. Ryan, and he said nothing wrong. He just said what you just said, you know, Ryan. That we are the only team who is still searching around for our best 11. Every other team in this group know their best 11.
Is it come down to the coach or the selection where the coach have to say, okay, this player not available, so coach Whitmore? Because really and truly, when you look at this team, coach, that's a really disappointed. It's sometime with Coach Theodore Whitmore. He have in the job for a long time, coach. And I give him the respect he need. But when I look at him continuity, the players he keep picking on, 16 of this player, but Coach Theodore Whitmore, from him get the job, he been calling up. The Shaman Nicholson, the Corey Burke, the Damian Lowe, the Mariappa, the Junior Flemings, that's 5, right? Andre Blake, that's 6, right? Tariq McGee, that's 7, right? O'Neal Fisher, that's 8, right? Let's move on to Bobby Reed, that's 9. Who again? Alvas Powell, that's 10. Who again? Some of them, but I check
Kemar Lawrence.
Kemar Taxi Lawrence. Coach, this is half of your squad. You've been calling up together.
But you know, Tariq is not in the squad for the weekend yet either.
It's joke. It's joke. It's joke. It's one of our promising midfielder.
I understand, but I'm just saying to you, right, that is what has been happening. If we look at the Panama game, look after Mexico, look what we had for Panama and Jamaica. And literally a total different team. Why? I don't know. But that's where our problem lies, Ryan. That's where our problem lies.
Coach, we have so many.
He has a few games with the team in El Salvador, which I'm certain will help him to better decide on the best starting 11 for the game. So,
coach, you ever come down? You ever coach in a team and you have some favorite player? They are your soldier. No matter what happens, you're not going to leave them out.
And yes, there's always going to be that. As a coach, you find that you have players who are your backbone, who you want to be there. Of course.
Fair enough. Coach, it's just buffing me to see how many good players we have and we're not putting them together. You know what I mean? These are the things. And then the English-based player war with each other, the Jamaican player war with each other. And what can we do to get everything together? Both English. Because when I look at it, coach, it disheartens when I see English-based player taking picture with English-based player. When I look at around a table, UK-based player just eat around a table. When I look Jamaica, coach, I'm telling you, coach, and I'm 100% right on this. When I'm playing Excelsior Manning Cup team, that's the closest I get to professional, Coach Aliman. We have 11, we have about 8, 5 of us, we are senior player. And we cling because we has been around in a Manning Cup team forever. Right? So we have that bond. You know what Coach Alman did to get the command and everybody together? He stopped make us sleep in one room. He split us to make sure that everything come together. I don't see that. And that coming down from not even the federation, the coach, the manager. These are the things. This is why I put pressure on Coach Theodore Whitmore. Some of the simple thing where I was playing football, and I know if Coach Theodore Whitmore, the leader of the team, and say, okay, Taxi Lawrence like to be with Chairman Nichols, we'll move him. It can't be where English-based players just eating around the table. It can't be where on a match they were eating rice and peas and chicken. No. That's too heavy for a player.
Ryan, you talk about you talk about the camaraderie of the team. It's important that players associate themselves with players that they are comfortable with too, you know.
Yes, but coach, too many times.
Listen, there are other areas for get together, you know. And this is unless the players they have time. If a player come flying from England today and reach 9 o'clock and him going to bed at 11 o'clock, you know, him not going to see the rest of the team until tomorrow morning. You know, it's time, Ryan, that makes these things happen. You just talk about Excelsior players, and you say it. Most of you have been playing together for a while. You know people inside out. It's better to manage that than to manage big men. Players have them. It has always been that way, Ryan, where players have them choice of players with them name.
Let them stick around.
Yes.
I understand.
You can see Rudy and Onandelo.
Yeah.
You can see Pepe and Bibi. You can see Peter Cargill and Tati Brown. But you know what? Them have a common ground where them go. Where them have when they meet up, them have common ground where all of that change. But if them have choice, them get Ryan, come and go up the road. I'm not call. Ryan, this is part of it happen everywhere. I'm just saying that it's time spent that will change that. When Theodore come out of the room, him call somebody to go out there. Rudy, come we go pick 2 mango out of the tree. I'm a Rudy, I go.
Yeah.
You know,
we see that in the coaching staff too. Whenever when Whitmore our assistant coach, he don't do well on the assistant coach. He always talking. I don't know if it because he know the goalkeeper from playing together and have that chemistry.
Yeah.
He's always warrant on him. Always, yeah. Make this change. Always. We can see it from the outside. It's never the assistant coach side of him. From Jerome Wade days, we always see it. He's always the assistant coach. Up to the Gold Cup the other day, we see it. Paul and Whitmore in a toss-up who should go on. These things should be sorted out in the dressing room. If you call for help, Coach Theodore Whitmore, take the help. And that's the problem I have with Coach Theodore Whitmore. I have my weakness and I know who compliment me to make me look good. But if you ask for help as a coach, take the help. Our team coach, our generation and people in Jamaica, no one want to take the help. Everybody feel like, oh, this man going to get the credit. So what if that man get the credit? Everybody
if our goals are common, Ryan, we shouldn't have them problem. We shouldn't have them problem. You know, if I support you on that. If we have an assistant coach, we should be constantly bouncing problems off the assistant coach.
Yeah.
If I'm the assistant coach and you're talking to somebody else, then I go feel a way too.
Yeah, I see Jerome. I listen, coach. What I'm saying, People, I'm not making up anything. I will never do that on someone. Anytime I get the information and it's credible, I only listen to one person, coach. Only one person I get my information from the Football Federation, right? Jerome Waite, they have Jerome Waite as a statsman. We write down, and nothing wrong with that. When I see Jurgen Klopp and him assistant, it's always him and him assistant coach. Not saying him and the goalkeeper coach or the defender coach or the throwing coach cannot have a conversation on the sideline. But it's too casual where it's just Warren and Tapper. And then the assistant is nowhere to be found. And that's not look good, coach. That's not look good, man.
No, it doesn't. And it doesn't make sense you have an assistant who you can't talk with.
Prefer you just make your body be the assistant. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not having a problem, but what I have a problem with when the coach and the assistant not saying eye to eye. And coach, I'm telling you, I learned so much from Coach Aliman. And he said this to me, Ryan, you will never go through. No way you're going at the world and you will get a profit unless you go overseas where excels are. I'm telling you, everything down to the point. The coaching staff, the assistant, even Coach Boris Johnson, when he coached, everybody on the same wavelength. And then when I'm come and speaking, because I know what I'm saying, I play the game and I'm been around coach and I learn so much thing and I see some of these things and I'm pointing out, oh, that's not right. That's not right. Yes, that's right. People come and think.
And Ryan, nothing is having your assistant who have different opinion from you, you know. Nothing is really wrong with that, you know. It's all it needs is communication between both of you to it the right note, you know. Because if you have an assistant who just agree with everything you say, it really don't make no sense either. Too.
It make no sense.
Yeah, even though him see something wrong, him think it hard to see it. There has to be people who open-minded. And if I'm the assistant coach, I need to be able to say to the coach, hey, take a look at Ryan. I feel something is wrong with him. I need to be able. Nothing might be wrong with the Ryan, but what harm it going to be if we find out that nothing is really wrong? But after they see it, because it's now 4 eyes looking on, you know. If we have assistant and it just remain 2 eyes, we in trouble.
Yeah, we need is a team. When I look at Jurgen Klopp bench, so much people bouncing off idea. You probably don't see everything on the television. You understand? But when I listen to Jurgen Klopp, I get the knowledge. He never talk about him. They ask him, is you are the best coach in the world? He said, no. The coaching staff are the best in the world. He never let out him assistant or drop him guard. You understand? These are the things. You know what I mean? But I think
you know, recently Tyrone Marshall was appointed coach of one of the MLS team. You know, and I called him and I said to him, Tyrone, congratulations. But listen to me, you need to get your backroom staff together. Because it's so critical. You know, if you have staff who is not looking out for you, you're going to miss something. You're going to miss something. You know, and you need everybody around. Because the truth is that you can be everywhere at the same time.
And see everything.
You know. So this staff is critical. It is critical that when you, whatever it is, whatever coaching staff you have, everybody have to feel important. And just come back to Sam. That as a new person inside the room, Sam said to listen, if you're inside the room, you have to make a contribution. You know, you can't have assistant coach who don't make any contribution to you. Yeah. Him just there. It make no sense.
Yeah. Coach.
And that's why, you know, you talk about the backroom staff, that once you get appointed, you want to carry people you know is in support of you.
Yes, and who are willing to.
And that's why sometimes it's not necessary that the federation appoint a assistant coach, but find out from the coach who want to be my assistant.
You know, I was interviewing Miguel Coley, coach, the other day. And doing most of these interview, my knowledge, I get better of it and I learn so much thing. I was interview Miguel Coley, share him story, and Miguel said, I said to Miguel, I realized that because I was in Jamaica at the time, I realized that Winford Schaefer, every game Miguel Coley play, whether it's going to be at Barbican, he always be there. If it's being the schoolboy team, he always be there. And I said, Miguel Coley, why Winford Schaefer always at your team, watching whether it be JC or it be in Barbican? And he said to me, Ryan, I thought Miguel Coley like some of my player, whether it be JC or Barbican, because he probably see some of my player would like to get in the national team. Schaefer. Not knowing this man, every single where him go, Miguel Coley, Winford Schaefer follow him and go watch the game. You watch a few games of him with the Jamaica college team, and him impress. You watch game with Barbican, him impress. You were coaching some team over Waterhouse, he was impressed of the continuity of Miguel Coley, where every single team him coach, they play similar. And they have the same identity and they have the same thing. And you know that he walk up to him at Barbican and he come on the field after the game and he were talking to some of him play and Miguel were happy for the players. Say, listen, some of you guys better put out on the best because Winford likes some of you guys to get in the national team. So this is an opportunity for you guys to do in best. Not knowing Winford didn't interested in film player, but him interested with him. So when him get the call by the manager of the senior team, Ryan Simpson, big up. That's what he's a very good man. I can tell you that, man. Very good man. Play for the under 17 team and he cheat me good. But that is for another day. Ryan Simpson. And Ryan Simpson pick up the phone and call him and said, Winford Schaefer want you to be my assistant coach. And Miguel said, me? And he said, yes. And you don't want to be it? And I said, yes, I would love to be the assistant coach. And bam, you get called up by the federation to sit down and Winford Schaefer were there. And, you know, and Winford will tell him that I like how him coach and all of these stuff and thing. You want him to be my assistant coach. And Winford tried to know about this man and to know him philosophy. And listen to Miguel Coley when the federation remove him when Winford Schaefer, whether they sack him or somewhere, and he still will be a part of the team. The JFF just remove him, bring him J1 with no explanation to Miguel Coley. Miguel Coley, he said he upset at the time, feel away and stuff, but that didn't discourage him to want to do better for the Jamaica national team, whether it's going to be coaching JC or whatever. I know that he, couple weeks after him pick up a phone call, waiting for Schaefer call. Listen, I'm getting a job down in Israel and I want you to be the assistant coach. Bam. You have to get, at the time, he could prepare the team, but he couldn't be a part of on the bench because he don't have the qualification. And Winford Schaefer believe in him and say, listen, you have to go to school or you have to do a certain course to get the paperwork. That's why I tell people all the time. Not because you're more qualified more than Ryan LFC to the journalists. That means you can't do it. No, it don't work like that. Sometimes you have some people who don't qualify, but it's still me. I can do body work, but on paper, I don't have that on my resume. I don't have the paperwork, but I can do it. I can do it much better than enough of the person who don't have the paper. You understand? And see Winford Schaefer now, more than 3 jobs, different job in Israel. Miguel Coley still is his assistant coach.
Mr. Ryan, it boils down to the coach being allowed to choose his assistant. And maybe that's what the JFF need to allow the coach to choose his assistant instead of giving him assistant. Because that's where the problem lies, you know, Ryan. The JFF employs an assistant coach through politics.
All the
But
time.
definitely, and I'm just saying what we see with Schaefer's situation here, that they allow him to choose his assistant coach.
Yeah. And
And
Tapa,
it's always going to make a difference.
yeah, and Tapa get that opportunity where he choose he want to have him assistant coach to be him assistant coach now. It's so funny. Tapa were the man were calling for um what's it Paul Hall for a long time, and the federation
Okay.
never have the money to pay Paul Hall. And yet still they are not the person who paying Paul Hall. You know, it's not everything I come and vlog about people, but it's not the football federation paying Paul Hall him salary. And Tapa been asking for so much of the thing. And that's the thing what buzzing me, coach. Tapa been asking for a video analyst. He needed something where he can record the game too. You know, when Tariq Maggie, you're not doing this on the pitch. I want to have video to show and say this is where you run. Shamar, this is where you run. Tama, Taxi, this is where I want you to be. And you're in the wrong position.
That's the world we in today, Ryan. That's the world we in today.
And I that's why sometimes I have sympathy. But when I don't have the sympathy, Coach Brown and Tapa, is when Tapa get every single thing up till today. Everything that Coach Theodore Whitmore want from the federation, he get every single thing. He get video analyst, he get assistant coach, he get someone who to help the people who prepare the jersey and all of these things. They have two. I don't know where they call him personally, but we have a name where they call him for.
Equipment managers.
Equipment management. So Tapa has been getting every single thing and leading up to that Gold Cup. So this is why I'm saying, Tapa, I am going to hold you accountable. So that's the thing I'm saying. But coach, I don't think you ever do an interview with Salang. You ever do an interview, Salang?
No. And I tell you, this request has come from several people. But I'll do it for you. I'll do it for you, Ryan. Because so Ryan, I'm not, as I tell you, I put up a couple things to make certain I do it, because my next couple of weekends going to be a bit hectic. But Ryan, you mentioned, you touched on the subject of people with certificates and who don't have certificate. I want to encourage all people who are getting involved with coaches, especially young coaches, get as qualified as you can. I know they're making it tougher and tougher for people to get qualified because of money. The whole subject of coaching courses have become a big money business. Courses that used to be done in 2 weeks are now being done in 6 months. You know, and Ryan, I'll say it again. If you learn ABC, you're okay. Them can't teach you ABC no other way. All you need to do is to learn how to manipulate the letters to form words. It's the same way with coaching. Coaching is no rocket science. We just make it out to do that, and we bleed some of the young coaches that are coming now because it's charging them an arm and a leg to give them a little certificate. But get it. If you're interested in the game, get it. Because it offers you opportunity to enter open doors. Or to get doors open. Get yourself qualified. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. But I also want to encourage coaches to talk with each other. Take up your phone and share ideas with each other. Some of the answers you're searching for are not in books. You could read till thy kingdom come. It is in the head of one of your fellow coach. It is in the heads of one of your fellow coach. Just make a phone call. Ask him a question. Don't be afraid. Years ago, I sat in a coaching course. When we go coaching course, Jackie Bell, I noticed Jackie Bell will always be asking some question. And as a young coach inside, Jackie Bell used to coach me. And I always said to myself, then coach will know them answer. We might ask them question. Until one day I asked him, Ryan, I said, coach, why you ask this question? And he said, Carl, because several of the people who sit in the room don't know these things, but they're afraid to ask, which is true. Coaches, don't be afraid to ask questions. And no, don't worry if you ask Carl Brown and him give you an answer, we're gonna make you be a better coach. Don't worry about that. Because what him say is not important. It's the fact that you have become a better coach is what is important. But too often we're afraid of that. We're afraid to ask Ryan because then Ryan can come on the year and tell people that is them. Is him give Carl Brown the answer. It no matter. Carl Brown is better off because him get an answer from Ryan. That's what we must look at. You know, and too often we see it. I see we have a coach forum up running on one of the social media. Encourage the coaches, continue to talk to each other, ask questions, make personal contact with coaches. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. The more you know, the better you will be.
True. Coach, me have 3 things before you leave. Who is your favorite player of all time?
Oh my gosh. You mean internationally and everything?
Worldwide. It could be
Pele.
a local player, it could be Pele.
King Pele.
King Pele.
Yes.
Which team you support?
Man U. Good, bad, or indifferent. Your files red, you know. You just turn red. Man U red from long time.
No, Liverpool are we ready before Manchester United. Go check back your history, Coach Brown. Me I tell you that, me I challenge you that on the live right now. Go check back your history. Liverpool are we ready before Man United.
Ryan, you know who just tell me my listen the interview? Pablo from in Brazil.
Who?
Pablo. Remember we Masua Pablo, man?
Oh yeah.
Pablo just text me and tell me same listen the interview.
Oh, on YouTube? Wow.
Yes.
Wow. You know that Craig Butler interview just blew me away. I did an interview with Craig Butler, and that's where Joe Dona called me and said, Joe Dona didn't even know me and my family. Joe Dona, if you're watching the shame on you, Joe Dona called me and said I'm doing some charity stuff down in Boys Town and stuff, and say, of course, I can talk to the viewers and stuff. People, put some money on the board. Come on, people, man. Smash the like button. Let's get the video to 100 likes. As we're talking about that, Coach Brown is on the live. Show some support, people. If you have $1, donate it. If you have $10, donate. Anything you have, I really appreciate it. The Cash App is there, and you can super chat. So anything you guys have, I'd appreciate it. And you know that Joe Dona said he want to do some stuff and thing. And you know, I pick up the voice, and I must say, you know, I'm from me don't know you. And because Craig Butler call him Rima man, because I come from Rima at the time, and Craig Butler coached me and stuff. And he were saying to me, you have some thing him dealing down in Boys Town and stuff, the foundation and stuff, and you want to come on the channel and share a little bit of highlight to get some support from the peoples and stuff. I'm say, Joe Dona, anytime you're ready. And I said to him, is Joe Dona? And he said, yes. And I said, oh, you know me. I said, oh, me and a family, man. Robbie and my father, man. Robbie and my father from Change. And I say, a liar. And I say, Sharon. And I call all of the people. And I say, I lie this. I can't believe my family is me attacked. I say, yeah, man. And I say, oh, this red man. And I say, no, this is the opposite.
No,
brown man. Yeah, so... I like it, Coach, man. I like to do my interview different. I don't want to get that clickbait. I want thing we're going to last for the next 10 years. You know what I mean? So these are some very good conversation. But I'm going back to you. Liverpool is the first red, not Manchester United.
Lord,
we are the biggest club right now, Coach. I can't believe you support Man United.
No, Mr. Man, you man from morning, noon, and night. Morning, noon, good, bad, or indifferent. Mr. Man, you man from the days of Dennis Law, them, you know. I know yesterday me I talk about. Mr. Man, you man from the days of Dennis Law, you know. And the
one thing,
yes, them a way back me I come from. I know
keep Oli going to social, man. Keep Oli as a manager. He's the best manager in the world, and I'm enjoying it. He will turn it around. I'm just asking to Man United fans, just lower on expectation and stuff. So Oli is the best manager. He's the right man for the job. Just keeping him as long as possible. I would love that.
Third one.
My third one, no. I think Coach Whitmore, I think he need to go out and get some more exposure. When I mean like go to club and you know the JFF can send him. Even Coach Theodore Whitmore to improve himself. The federation don't have to do it. I think Coach Whitmore need to go out and either go any club across the world to get more knowledge about the thing, about the game and stuff. I think when it comes on to tactics, he's slow. Coach Whitmore always reacting. He could never be the first one to make a change to cheat. I don't know why, but when I watch him over the years, he always been reacting to what the other coach is doing. You know what I mean? I think he need to get some more exposure, more experience. You know what I mean? I don't know what you think about that. I believe he need to go overseas more and stuff to get that, get much knowledge he
Ryan,
can.
we spoke earlier about me going to Bolton. This is 2002, you know, Ryan. It happened. It's happened since. And my question is why? Why hasn't the federation up to do something like that with future coaches? And most of our coaches now, it's not a case that they have second job, you know. They're actually just doing coaching. They're just coaching. There are teams, clubs out there, any country that the federation, the president talk man to man, they'll do it. It's part of the politics of the game, Ryan. Because at some stage, these people going to want the vote of Jamaicans, you know. It's politics. Get up the phone and get your coach. You don't have to go for a year. Them have the US right here. The US is right next door to us. With more other club in England that he used to play for.
Chanmere
One
over.
of them ask him to go spend time with them a month there, 2 months. I'm glad that they'll do it.
Yeah. You know, someone.
So Ryan, I am in agreement with you that we have done nothing to help our coach to improve. Yeah. Understand me? And it's not about go do courses. Like I tell you, Ryan, at one stage I decided, I tell captain, no more course for me. I don't know I'm going to. I get that soccer license here in the US because in the US, it's only if you have something with the eagle on it, them represent it, you know. That's the only reason why I went and did it, Ryan.
Yeah.
Because when I came, everybody attacked. The first question them asked, you have a soccer license? Them don't want to hear about any course that I did before. Them don't want to hear about all the experience that I had. When I answer yes, them continue talking.
Yeah.
So if you're in the US, get a soccer license. US soccer license. EDCV, no matter. Just when them say you have one, say yes. Because them not even ask you what you have.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason why I came here and did a soccer license. But Ryan, the best learning is to go spend some time with the club. And that's what we need to get our coach out. Get him. Right now, it's not the time because the qualifiers are going on. But if it's not Tapper, the next local coach you get, right to the US Soccer Federation, right to Germany, anywhere in the world, they will accommodate them. They'll find a club to accommodate one of your coaches and not costing a whole heap of nothing. The JFF only had to find a year fare for me to go to England. Bolton provided a house for me to stay, a car for me to drive, all the food that I need.
Yeah.
You understand me? It can be done, Ryan. And we did it before, and it's like everything else. We just think it hard to understand. We don't have to reinvent the wheel, you know. Because of that, I find that's what the JFF is trying to do. The JFF is trying to reinvent the wheel, to prove that everything that was done before wasn't good. We just need to shine it up. Let's get some brasso and shine up the wheel, and when you go there, so nobody knows that a brand new bicycle you're riding.
Yeah.
Ryan, do things for our club, man. That's my problem. That's things.
Same thing I'm saying, coach. I've been around the sports too long. As I said, he's the first person to put me in the goal when the Reggae Boyz come. Two of the goalkeeper injured at the time, Sean Sayers, and I think I can't remember the next goalkeeper were injured. You know what I mean? And you put me in the goal and you said to me, anything that come, and you must do. And I put up my hand. I was brave at the time. So I'm saying I'm being around so much.
You was stupid but brave.
Brave, coach, man, because I'm turn goalkeeper now, coach. Turn goalkeeper now, you know. So this is what I'm saying, coach. Experience. This is why I want to give my kids the opportunity. You know, when I leave Trenchtown, coach, when I leave Trenchtown, it's one of the best thing ever happened to me. The exposure. I know what exposure can do for you.
Of course, of course. I have my
Big
testimony
thing.
to that.
I leave Rima and I becomes a different person. I start to think different out of the box. Different people are around that exposure. Then I come to Canada. One day I'm talking to a football group and everybody I say, yo, oh, yeah, club second and yeah, I thought the game. Everybody love me, be a bigger man. I always surround myself with bigger people. You understand? Because I think I mature. Long time. Even when I go on it and watch a game, they always say this boy always they run the old man them. They call it old man corner. And they think I am an old man. Because I think the people them when I surround myself, I learn a lot from them. And I come to Canada, coach, and the thing just blow my mind away to the next level. Sitting here doing YouTube. Sometimes I'm saying I'm self-second my guess. And you know my coach, Coach Karoum, every time him say this, Ryan, I've been watching you for over years. And if what you're saying, I know him not subscribe to Foolish. He's the first someone who to give me a book to learn how goalkeeper should position and all of them stuff there. Coach Karumi. And he said, Ryan, why I'm watching you for a year? That mean you're doing something good. You know I'm done subscribe to Foolish. Before him even know, say, it was him son you're talking to. So that's give me more confident, coach, for just say, yo, go, me can do it. You know what I mean?
Well,
And then
great. I tell you, Ryan, it's one of the things that I've always talked about, about too often the good things out of Boylston are secrets, that people don't know. In 1970, in 1972, Laxton Comrie was elected president of the JFF. And I remember reading the daily news. His sport picture was on the back. So lunchtime, I got a break. I was outside reading the daily news. And when a lady from half the staff came by and she people on my shoulder and said, you know this gentleman? I said, yes. This man, me and him grew up same place. He lives at 5th Street. I lives at 4th Street down in Trenchtown. And she just stepped back and say, I lie you tell. Nobody like you no live at Trenchtown.
You know, that's the same thing people, my wife said a family, them, she say, you come from Rima?
No, of course. Ryan and I had to tell her. I say, listen, I can start calling name now until we're ready to go home. I don't finish. About people, outstanding people out of that area. But you know what? That's the thing about it, Ryan. We don't do anything to support each other. Mr. Comrie do up a little graph about all the recording artists that came from between 1st Street and 13th Street, Almost every one of we recording artists come out of the little 3 mile radius,
Sure.
But all we hear about is Rima 13.
Sure.
You
nobody forgive or forget about the past. They just keep on doing.
We are also guilty of it too, because we don't talk about people like Lindell Wright.
Yeah.
You understand me? You don't have no when it comes to discipline, few people can match Lindell Wright when it comes to discipline. Our pavilion gate fence was torn down. Those 2 posts stand up that at the gate. When Guinea go to bat, him don't walk across the fence, we broke down, It's through the 2 gate. One Sunday we're playing a match over there. Guinea outside the bat, him out. And a man tell a man, 2 man go stand up in front of the 2 column, If you see if Guinea would walk round and walk over the fence and come in the pavilion, Guinea, when him reach him, just ask him to excuse him. It's true the walk. There's a man named Gladstone Robinson, God rest him soul. They don't come any better in terms of gentlemen. But we don't talk about that, Ryan. But we too also fail to talk about it, Ryan.
Yeah, for sure.
Before you close, I want the viewer to know also too. I play a little cricket too, Ryan.
I even talk about Woolmas too. I even talk about your time when you bring Woolmas come about on these big these big guys, I may say, where coach get these big boys? You know, so you bring Ulmas there. You bring the Jamaica national team a lot of time. That's when I fall in love with the Reggae Boyz at the time, with the big Reggae Boys on the bus.
Yeah.
In Cayman Islands to Boys Town. So the knowledge that you bring, I really, really appreciate it. But Brown, you said last thing before you close, I'm going to give it, but the people will give me. I have a WhatsApp call in, so I don't know the time. I want to give 5 minutes for people to call in to ask you a question. So they will not be too long. I know we do 3 hours, but I can't do that. The people them will
Yes,
abuse.
yeah, go on. Yeah, run down 4 hours.
Yeah. So say what you have to say, and then people, the phone line is open, so you guys can have a live on here and talk with Coach Brown and ask him the question. You only have 20 seconds. You ask the question, you hang up, give somebody a call. It's 5 minutes. We're going to take the call. So you hang up, ask Brown the question, him answer, and then the next caller come on. So people don't come on and 10 different questions. I'm begging you, please keep it short. Coach Brown have to leave me soon. So the phone line is open. What you have to say before you close off, he said. Coach.
Me that?
Yeah, you say
I'm just, as I said, I'm really just proud of what you're doing there, and this is a great forum for people to express themselves. Ryan, you put yourself down in the form of a journalist, and just be honest about your opinion. Don't worry about whether it differ from other people's opinion. You know, just ensure that you are honest about the things you do and say. Ryan, you know, I am just in all with everything that's going on with the team. Our joy, and I mean all of us, joy would be that we qualify for the World Cup, and that's my big wish. Whoever is there, whether it's Theodore or somebody else, I'm just hoping that the next World Cup is played, that the Jamaica team is there, because I remember what it did for us in 1998 as a nation. You know, I remember driving leave the players' house at about 1 o'clock in the night to go across, and people still line in the street celebrating. So, you know, I believe we are all waiting on that again. We just watch our women's program. Fortunate to watch the women team in a game against Costa Rica recently. Good bunch of girls, and Ryan, you know, we were just sitting a group of us who were watching the game. People don't know that the first women team in Jamaica was Boys Town.
Yeah, the first man know that too.
What? Yeah, man. The first woman team in Jamaica was the Wildcat. Boys Town. A man named Bob West created that team down Boys Town. Them used to go all about the place and create all kind of excitement. You know. So I'm really happy to see where women's football is at the moment. I know we're going through a little turmoil right now, but we, you know, just my wish is that the next Women's World Cup, we're back here too. You know, and that we don't wait for so long, you know, like the men's team. But that's all we can do for us. Hope and hope the ladies get out there and perform.
Yeah. Thank you very much, too. You know, so this is a past student of Excelsior, so I want to tell you thank you very much for that super chat. I really, really appreciate it. Bridging, you need to link me up, Bridging, because I need to get Coach Riley. He's the best man for me to get Coach Riley on the show. So link up. Coach, a lot of people have been calling from over Cayman and stuff. So, Coach, yes or no? More answer this question. Yes or no? I read in the Gleaner, right? You just say yes or no. I read in the Gleaner. When Coach Theodore Whitmore resigned, your name were linking back to the job, and the JFF want to give you $100 US a day. Is it true? Yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
Listen, you know me already in a JFF. You know say, you ready to eat up my food now. But listen to this, man. Don't play with my legend. Don't play with my father who has done so much for Boys Town. Don't think you feel like him in a bad situation. Don't take liberty. Go with that. Let me tell you now here. Go with that. Bonnie, I give $100.
Right, Ryan, I tell you a little thing on that. You know, when I read that email, you know, I'm downstairs. This is early in the morning. I turn on the computer and he's reading it. And I'm answering the email, you know. But the way that I was licking the keys so hard, my wife is coming downstairs, you know. And she said, what happened to you? Let me say, me just answer an email and me get from the JFF. And she came over me and she looked on what I was writing. And she said, you not putting yourself so low, you know. So me say, you know what, I better you take it and answer them, you know, because right now, me no mood for answer any other way. You hear me, I tell you, was so angry, Ryan, it wasn't funny. So angry. And Ryan, I tell people, it's not about the money, you know, Ryan, because I'll coach Jamaica for free. It's not about money. I'll coach for Jamaica for free. But it's the fact that them just have a man with them up pay millions of dollars and have the audacity to ask me half of me $100 a day. That was what bothered me the most.
Yes, it bothered me, man. It bothered me. So I'm glad. Someone tell me now, Sir Ryan. The person says the moment they stop that the truth on YouTube, when me give the information, you say that's how it go. And the person I may say, no, $100 US.
True. It's true, Ryan.
All right, my boss, big up yourself, Bridget. My respect to you on that information. It told me and me never believe it. So, you know, sometimes him give me the information and I'm afraid to run the story because warping coach, you see the moment they get something wrong, people just say, oh, you're not credible.
No, that is true. That is true, Ryan. That's what I said to you, Ryan. Ryan, you're going to make mistake too, you know. You're going in your life at time, but you know what? The moment you find out you're wrong, don't be afraid to come out and apologize about it.
Yeah.
That's what is going to help you to survive. Right now, you are there, Ryan. As I say, somebody tell you, just make certain that what you get, the information you get is true. Don't just come knock Carl Brown and you don't find out if it's true. You know? But listen, man, if it's truth, don't be afraid of it. Listen, Ryan, nothing that is wrong, no care what you do, make it right. And the reverse is also true.
Yeah. So this is another. I don't know if he's a Excel, sir. Yeah. Coach, you know about these things? Super sticker. This is a super chat. I don't know if you're watching YouTube. Super chat meaning people pay for them comment to bring up on the stream. If you realize I bring up people comment. So this person pay to bring their comment up on the comment section. You seen in this comment?
You want about Coach Brown nice listening to you?
Yeah.
Ryan, you need to organize a fundraiser. Okay.
Yeah, so people, I will do that. Anything fake help Excel, sir, I will always. Anything that failed Boys Town, they are playing a big part in my career. So anytime you see this coach, I watch YouTube and stuff. These are super chat. So they pay for their comment to bring up. So they are very special, different from the rest of people comment down in the comment section. So this is the next one.
They're learning something from you now too.
Yeah. Coach, remember you called me and say, you called me and you remember me call you and say, yo, Coach Brown, I call me, Coach Brown remember me. Remember me and say to you, I say, yo, Jano, I say, Coach Brown, I call me, and I say, Coach Brown, I call me. You know what I mean? So I feel good about that, man. That lift my spirit, man, Coach. That lift my spirit for know that someone
proud of you, my son. Proud of you. And I know
look, man, come off the pitch. You know, I was telling Price though, listen, man, I never even dream of doing this. You know, you guys, from a baby giving you guys a lot of problem. Look, man, come off the pitch. And you guys has never been rude to none of us. Always, look, man, respectful. Go behind the fence, mind the ball, lick you. Jard Vernal going to kick. You never Jard Vernal going to kick. You're always telling us, say, yo, you need to get behind the fence and stuff. So
the first goal him scored for Boston, we never get it, you know. We go Reno and him kick a ball, it lick the back iron and come out back. Them not get it, you know. So the post it lick.
Trust me, Coach, I see Jard Vernal. That guy should have been playing for Jamaica a long time, man.
Jard, he actually played on the youth teams, you know.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, he went with one of either the under 20 or under 17 youth team, you know, to the World Cup. But then he migrated and got lost. It's come and see me, you know, here in Florida, you know.
Yeah?
Yeah, so come here see me up at Boystown.
Yeah. One thing, coach, anything, man, you always send back to the community, man. One thing I love about you, man.
Ryan, I can't stop doing that. Ryan, I tell you, I have some things down in my garage now, Ryan, just ready. The old people, the youth, is just me. It's not a choice I have, Ryan. It's a commitment. It's an obligation that I have to do. And I'll forever do that.
Yeah, free. But coach, as I said, I have to take. I'm going to give you 5 minutes so these people can ask a question and they run off. So I get a few missed calls. So let's start it. You hearing this?
I hear the ringing.
Yeah. Okay, all right, perfect. Ryan. Carla, good evening, man. You're live with Ryan and Coach Brown. What's the question you want to ask Coach Brown?
Yes, even Coach Mr. Carl Brown. Nice having you on the program. The question I ask him is, what do you think about the state of affairs of the local football in terms of quality and speed of development?
So, Coach, just a second before you answer. You hearing him, Coach?
Yes, I hear him, yes.
Okay. So, Carla, what you're going to do? You're going to ask Coach Brown the question, and then you will listen after. So, Coach, you will answer the question after. So, go ahead and ask the question you just asked a while ago.
Yes, good evening, Coach Mr. Brown.
Evening, man.
I'm concerned about the standard of local football in terms of player development and you know, what can in your traveling and you're going around the world, how do you think we can improve local football, you know, which is club football?
Okay, that's the question you want to ask.
Yes.
All right.
Club football, yeah.
All right. Thanks for calling, man. Thanks for calling.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah.
Ryan, I hear the caller, and you know it's very difficult for me to talk about locals, the state of local football at the moment, because I've not seen any local football for a little while, you know. So it's very difficult for me. I can just say a few years ago I saw a Jamaica under-20 team played in a tournament in CONCACAF tournament here in IMG in Tampa. And I was very impressed with the talent that I saw there. You know, I contrary to I hear a lot of people talking about the lack of talent in Jamaica. It's like saying that there's no more water in the sea. We have always have talent. We'll always have talent. You know, and therefore, Carla, it's very difficult for me to really discuss the state of football. What I can probably address is the development you talk about, and I'd love to see something happen there. Again, we have to earmark the clubs. The clubs need help in doing that. Football development have to come through the clubs. We cannot. The JFF, I don't believe we have thrown the responsibility on the JFF to do it. Somehow we have to turn to the clubs for the development of young players, and again it comes down to funding. You know, what role is the private sector people going to play? Our government going to play in the development of our young talent right across the board? You know, we have seen it. We're sitting like in sports. Years ago was developed to look at grassroots sports. Something like that, I believe, is need to be properly financed to identify talent and to put some fund into it and develop the talent there. They're always there. There's more Shamar Nicholas at Boystown. You know, I'm certain of that. You know, how are we going to help them to grow? I believe that's one of the things that I'd love to see private sector and government getting involved in the development of our sports people.
Most definitely, Coach. And as you talk about Shaman Nichols, you are a big part of Shaman Nichols growing up in Boystown. You coach him. You're a big part of O'Neill Big Attempts. You're a big part in Hardware, Jamil Hardware. A lot of players through the ranks, but some of the people who go overseas and make it and stuff. So big up for that too, Coach. So, all right. So, we're going to take one more call. I don't want to keep you no more longer, coach. So, let's give Boris Johnson a call. He always stay behind and a shout. Coach not answering. Coach not answering, coach. So, coach, you see this one will come up?
Yes.
This is a super sticker. They don't say anything, but they just donate $1.
Okay.
So there's a super chat. Yeah, coach, good evening, man. Welcome to the show, man. You're live with Ryan LFC and your former coach. Coach Boris Johnson, welcome, man.
I must say evening to the legendary.
Brother B, evening, sir. Evening, Boris.
I must say it's good to have the coach on the program just to reflect on the 98 campaign so that people can see how important we were as a group. I mean, not only just play football, but the level of togetherness.
Yes, Brian. Unmatched.
I wanted to share one of the best moments on the tour to Brazil. And it was when we reached to Brazil to Rio Claro and there was drought. And he had to get up in the morning, jog to the town of Rio Claro, and a praise and worship.
Yes.
After having the praise and worship for a couple of mornings, Brazil had one of the hugest flood they ever seen.
No, serious thing, Brian. Serious thing, Boris.
Clear, Coach Brown.
Yes.
And have him reflect. I mean, I was one of the person that, as I told you from day one, he was the main source. The main source in terms of us qualifying for World Cup. And I mean, a lot of people might not see it that way, but when you look at what Rene had to work with when it comes to Jamaica, I think everything was pretty much on his forefoot, on his way running, based coming from what happened in 91 with those guys in Shell Cup, and then coming with us as youth players. So I think all credit due, and I said this all the while without no apology, all credit due for the 98 World Cup. I think Carl Brown played a tremendous role that a lot of people don't understand and know about. But good to have your coach, good to hear you all the time.
Yes,
it's been fun to come and help you with a session, but you know what you
You owe it.
Coach, you owe him, Coach Boris.
I owe him big time. And not only me, but all of us that come to a Carl Brown owe him because there's some precious moments.
It was great times, Boris. Great times, man. Great, memorable times, Boris.
Carl Brown in our ears.
Yeah.
And in our mind. When we sit and reflect, we still hear Mr. Brown. And as I told people all the while, that's how fortunate we were in terms of not only playing the game, but the type of people where we were around at that time.
Yeah.
When they talk about the Carl Brown, the Sir Downswell, the Mr. Boxhill. And you can go on and on. I mean, the father figures that these people played is one that we haven't seen back since the football. These are not people that just coach you. These are people that come to your home to see what happening in your environment, see what happening in your day-to-day life. And if you have a personal problem, you can sit and talk to them and find applicable and suitable solution. So these are people that I don't know, see them as people, but as gems. And the truth of the fact, we really owe them a lot. And that's why I told you to the date, yeah, we might get back into a World Cup, but until we start to see what we see and feel and know then we can talk the talk. But speaking to Mr. Brown and hearing from Mr. Brown, you see that the work was being done. I remember that game that he spoke about in terms of the Corinthians game. 4-0 half time.
Yes. Yeah.
And when you watch the end result of the game, you could feel it.
Yeah, man.
If you go back and you look at the situation and what happened with the group in Mexico, you could see a level of togetherness. And I tell people, until, as Mr. Brown said, we find a local core, we find back a house, whether it be 102 Charlotte Road or 104, 105, 106, then the whole picture is different. It's much different. We feel it, we know it, we understand it, and we can tell you we see why and we see when and we see during the World Champion where we go ahead in terms of qualifying for World Cup. And as I say, kudos to these players now. Yeah, we have good players playing, but I mean, what we get from Mr. Brown and other people, I must tell you, it's not only football, Bridget, but life lesson. Life lesson, life lesson, life lesson. With the little that they had, I must say, and I must tell Mr. Brown, we appreciate it. And as I always say, with the little that they have, and the little that was provided, they did more than well. Excellent, 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 excellent. And
Thank you, boys.
Gratitude. I always owe them because it's something that when I sit and I look back, and you can speak to other past players. When they sit back and they look at where we're coming from with the football and what took place, they realize how fortunate we are as young players. I, as a young player in the national stadium again, Carl Brown coaching at Boys Town, they rubbing the shoulders with the like of a Lenny Hyde, a Joe Donner, a Donovan Panton. These are legacy and moments that we sit now and cherish because we know where it was coming from. We know the love at the time in terms of the football and how knitted the football brought us on in terms of not only a group, but I should say a family.
Yes. Yeah.
Family. Family. And a lot of people might see it. And yeah, we have good players now, we have good players playing in the league, but the togetherness that we have in 98, if this group can get that togetherness and the love they have for one another and the respect and the appreciation, Bridget, I tell you, sky will be the limit. But I mean, kudos to Carl Brown and those guys. That job excellent done. I tell people all the while when they talk about the 98 champion, if it's one person always come to mind as Mr. Brown. And it's not just 94, as you hear him say. Yeah, when they came to Jamaica, 94, to do a job, but the job was already being done and the preparation was already started. And I'll never forget that. Never forget that. We sleep in the National Stadium with the same 91 team that win the Shell Cup as juvenile under Mr. Carl Brown. And that's why I told a lot of people when they come, the platform was already set. It was just a matter of fine-tuning, getting a little bit more exposure as a family. And the thing works. And as we said, appreciation to Mr. Brown, hats off to Mr. Brown. There's no thing that we can do to repair the debt that Mr. Brown has in terms of Jamaica and the football. From where it was to where he take it, to where he leave it. There's no track record that nobody, I don't know who is going to even live, walk back down the road of that track record. I must say, as Mr. Brown is listening and live, I must say, Coach, thanks, and we appreciate it. And it's memories that we'll never forget. Because one of the things, as I told Ryan, it's not just moments, it's life lessons. We still have a day when we go back into a Carl Brown and remember where we're here. And we have to play it out. Because the reality is, it was good lesson. So that's why I told a lot of people, we could be able to play good football then because we were taught well. Not just on the pitch, but off the pitch, which is very important. Very, very important. Very important. Both from football side, spiritual side, we get all of that. And I must say, Mr. Brown, as I said before, we are truly grateful. Now when you sit back and you look, you realize that it was not only football, but as I said, life lesson. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. I will thank you for coming forward. Share the story so people understand that it's not just calling a training session, calling some people, and it works. There's a LOVE in it. That's,
yes.
If you don't find it, you're in problem. All right?
Yes, coach, and thank you, man, for having me our best season at Excelsior, man. Some good preparation, man.
Yeah, like I said, those are all the things that we learned from Mr. Brown. Anybody that play for Mr. Brown will tell you it's life lesson. And with our trueness, we owe him a lot. We owe him a lot, and we can never repair.
True.
For the time, the effort, and the sacrifice that he has put in the football, not only Boys Town, but Jamaica football. That's why every time people say 98 World Cup, I label it and I said, Carl Brown. Carl Brown.
You always tell me that, coach, man. Up to day before yesterday. Yeah, yesterday you called me and you say, yo, 98. Carl Brown.
Because if a lot of people look at what transpired when they came to Jamaica 94, the groundwork was already set. And when I say set, if you should go back to that and look at that pool of players that Renee get, plus still get a Carl Brown to be assisting and being around the program, nurturing the program. It's a great deal of gratitude. I tell you, great deal of gratitude. When we joke, I sit down here with that. There's no story. Nothing that has to do with football. Like we will whole of vibes and whole of read.
Yes.
And Mr. Brown name don't mention. Always talk about Pops. I remember I was playing over 45 with me and Johnny in Fort Lauderdale, and I think it was they had wanted us to play 10 minutes of extra time after the ninth. And the players were complaining, say, well, we don't feel like we have it. And I said, man, talk to the legs them. Man, if you talk to the legs them, I say, yeah, man, Coach Brown, I tell you that, man, talk to the legs. So, as I said, it's life lesson. And we give thanks and we really appreciate it because, as I tell people all the while, we were fortunate these people were still around so we could get a level of guidance, not just the game alone, but life itself. And it's a whole level of gratitude. And as I tell you, it's a debt that we don't even know how to pay it. I will never live to pay it, but we appreciate it. We have a lot of fun. We have a lot of love. And at the end of the day, we become a family that people see it and know, even understand. Yeah. And I will just want to take the time off to say again, Mr. Brown, thanks. Big up yourself all the while. Your name will always be called, always, as one of the person where this 98 thing about. A lot of people see it, Coach, but I don't think they feel it yet. I don't think they understand. But no better person than Mr. Brown. No better person than Mr. Brown. All right, but good to have the coach on the show. And as I said, Coach, much love.
Same here,
all right, thanks, Coach. Thanks for picking up. Really appreciate it. And go and have your bath. Remember, I'm calling you tomorrow, so don't play around in a court.
All right. Have a good night and blessings.
All right. Yes, Coach. That's it, Coach. No more phone call. Coach, I want to tell you, thank you very much from the bottom of my heart to come and share your story. I was looking on the internet if I see any interview late with you. I haven't seen done. The last one I saw is Sportsmax when they're talking about the Reggae Boyz team and stuff on the chance. So I want to tell you, man, thank you for all the great thing he has done for the Jamaican national team and the Jamaican people, and especially the people in Boys Town. They give us water every single day from the tank at Boys Town. And you know you guys pay a lot of money for the light bill and stuff. So I want to tell you thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. And always to show love to the Jackson family. And Joe Donor as you as a God. So I listened to Joe Donor a few times and Mavi as a God. So I want to tell you thank you very much for the business you gave to me. And come and give me nearly 4 hours. Just call it 4 hour interview. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. I get in a lot of message. People say from Cayman, they say I need to come back home, and they really appreciate every single thing he has done for the Cayman national team. So they want to let you know they love you from the bottom of my heart. So I get several messages. So I wish I could show you the message them. They love you from the bottom of their heart. They say you need to come home. So yeah. So thank you, Coach, for coming. What do you have to say before we leave?
Well, I understand you for having it. I be Barry's probably the sum it up best, you know, with everything that we have been talking about. And that's a good part of it, Ryan. You know, that when we Barry's just express where all the players, them, if you get a chance to talk to them. I talk to people like Messam almost daily, you know, and it's just the same. The Paul Halls, the Fitzroy Simpson, the Dion Burton, You know, it's just that what I'll always keep in my heart. You know, those memories, those players they gave a whole lot. They gave a whole lot. They made it happen. You know, they made it happen. And I'm just happy to be a part of it, man. Ryan,
You're
I'll
coaching
do
a young
this
team, right?
over and over. Huh?
You're saying you're coaching a young team now, because most of the people are asking what Coach Bone up to now.
I presently work with a club named Florida United here in Miramar, South Florida. We have 12 girls team from 08 to 02s. And it really is just enjoyable just to get back into coaching, to be there to teach young people. Just totally different from back home. People play in the United States to learn the game, and I'm just really just happy to continue to be a part of it.
Yeah, most definitely. That's your son. That's your son, Joe Dona.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So he's sending some nice message. So yeah, and Barris. But Joe, you need to link me up, man. From other day you're calling me about the time, you know, so we'll link up. I'll have to get you on the show sometime, but I've coached long enough. So people, I want to tell you guys, thank you very much for all the love and the support you guys give to Ryan LFC. I have something special to come tomorrow. I think Coach Barris will be live sharing his story tomorrow. So you guys can look out for that. I have the Reggae Boyz podcast. Coach, I'm going to send you that one. That's the only one I'm going to send you. The Reggae Boyz podcast with me and a pastor named Manning's Man. So we're going to do that right after. So people, we're coming back live in the next 6 to 7 minutes. We're going to do the Reggae Boyz podcast. So have yourself a good night, Coach. Enough love. Enough
All
respect.
the time, bro. All the time. Enough respect for you, bro.
Yeah.
Robbie's son.
Yeah. Big up yourself, Jackson. Enough love to the Jackson family. Appreciate it. So big up on yourself. Big up to Joe Dona. Big up to every single one of you guys down in the chat. Enough love. Appreciate it. And don't forget to check out the store, the merchandise. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Until next time, from your boy Ryan LFC and Coach Brown, we like to say peace out. Thanks for watching.